that you can have even more around here.
No.
Yeah, you got to get you all in there, mate.
That's it. You ain't got enough wide enough lens.
Right. Okay, welcome back again. Thursday night, September the 11th. A day we'll never forget, certainly. I'm Phil Flory with Sid Knight.
Hello.
Again. Just bear with us for a sec. We just make sure we are working. Yeah, that is working, so that's all good. Are you going to try it off of that one, eh?
I'm going to try
it off of that one.
Well, if you want, yeah, I'm going to try on this one first.
All right.
And then see what we get up with.
Okie dokie. Right, we just make sure we're mainstreaming. Oh, an error occurred. Hold on, what's that mean? Hold on. Just make sure we're live streaming into the. Yeah, no, we're all good in here as well. God, look, brilliant. Okay. For once, it's all working.
Ian's put it in big print already, so that's good.
Ian's in right. Evening, Ian. Right, how do we want this? Right, I think we need to stop that. Go to there. I haven't put it up on the main page because I haven't had time tonight. That one as well, we'll stop it. Right, as we start here, hopefully guys, it should be a lot clearer. That's the thing, I'm just trying to see us if we are clearer. Tonight I brought down my big gaming rig PC. For you guys that saw the one at around about 1:30 this afternoon, I did a quick test. Thank you, Jürgen, for helping me out with that one. Hopefully it should be nice and clear now. We've got some new various things and everything else. I'm hoping the streaming's okay. My problem is I don't know how to turn off the bloody Wi-Fi on the big rig down there, because usually it uses the Wi-Fi one and not a hard connection. But it looks like we're streaming okay. Look, we have to wait for it to come back. But you seem to be moving around all right.
I'm moving, yeah.
That's all right.
I was looking for someone to put my can and bottle.
Right, okay, so if you notice problems on it, guys, just shout out and I will try and fix it. But we have got some new features and various things, but I don't know. I can't work out if that's stopping and starting just on mine or on anyone else. So what I'm going to do is just going to refresh that.
Yes, we've got Ian.
Mm-hmm.
John's going to be watching on his phone while he's up watching the rugby.
Very good.
He's got a signal, so he's watching that from his phone.
Well, that's handy.
We've got, Russell Wood, he's in with an early comment today.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's hi Phil and Sid, can't wait for the show.
Phil and Sid show.
They will put it in big print tonight, which is excellent.
Well, it's handy. We'll be all right. Cheers, everybody. Right.
And Dave's put, evening gents, my new compressor and airbrush came today. Woohoo! Big thanks to everything airbrush. Really helpful and came the next day. First question.
We're already on questions. Go on then.
I had a quick go with the said items.
Yeah.
And do you recommend a grip, or is it just the case of what works for you? And I put some Umbro acrylic through it, and it was awful.
Yeah, that's because it's Umbro acrylic. To be honest, it's quite hot here today. I'm going to have to open the window.
It was coughing and stopping and starting. So I binned. So he binned it.
Yeah.
And practically water.
To be honest, it's probably the best thing you did. Umbro acrylic isn't the best or specifically designed to go with airbrushing. I know guys who make it work, but from a simple, just chuck it in your airbrush and blow it through, it doesn't really like it. Obviously, you get the ones which are easier to airbrush, and we've spoken about it before. So obviously, Tamiya acrylics, they love it. 50-50 mix, no problem at all. The Gunty range, they're okay. 50-50 mix, they're good to go. Model Air, the black top ones, ready to go. Just squirt them in and spray. Need a little bit more air pressure, and I do usually thin them a little bit just to get them going. And then after that, the other ones sort of fall into line, but they need a little bit more playing with. So that's the thing to that. So I would say avoid Umbro acrylics. They're not exactly brilliant. They had a very nice.
Never tried them.
Well, you haven't missed much. To be honest, they put them in very nice flash bottles, but sadly, I didn't improve the contents of it too much.
Righty-ho. What else have we got?
Only wheels.
Still sitting here, cold beer, ready for more fun. That's Alan. Still well. Have you been to Specsavers, Sid?
Yeah, but he's got his iPad today.
I've got my iPad today. I thought I'd try and use it and see if it makes any difference. But so far, it has.
Oh, that's all right.
I hope the battery lasts.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. You can plug it into that one. It's got like 90 USB ports coming off of it. Right. Well, it's got nothing on it.
So, my main question is, did you sort your wheel problem out?
No. Oh. To be honest, I did a little bit more on the hind today. So I played with a few little titubation things, wiring the engines. I livened them up a little bit more, and I played with the clear parts. Nothing wrong with them, just gave them a polish up because I used some mask oil to mask them up, and it took a bit to get off. I had a bit of residue, so I did that, and then I've been doing reviews. So today I reviewed the Tucano, the Super Tucano, which is the Hobby Boss 148, so that'll be on tomorrow's news show, and also I did the Tacom Mark IV male and female tanks and put them up against the Tamiya one. I have to say that really, well, watch the review, but you should see the difference between Tamiya's tracks, which were clicked together, and theirs. Theirs comes on 5 sprues this big to put together. I joke you not. It's like a year's job to do the track. So I know which one I'll be doing.
It's a dedication then.
It is. And as I pointed out in the review, that it's great if it's a straightforward, you know, you're into your World War I, you want to do it. But if you wanted something, an easy route, I'll get the Tamiya. And also the Tamiya one's 15 quid cheaper.
Fair enough.
Because the Taken one is £50 versus the Tamiya one's 35. So, and you don't get a motor, but you do get more detail, if I'm honest, with the Taken kit. So yes, and the Tucano looks quite nice. I put it up against the Alclad resin one, which I did as a video build. I had it both down here for the review and had a look at it, which I have to check to see about nose weights. One thing I didn't do for the review, I mentioned it at the end of the review, because if it doesn't mention nose weight, it's never going to sit, because there's a lot of nose weight in the resin one. So it's going to need a lot in that one as well. So yes.
Make sure you glue it properly in place.
Well, yes. Otherwise, you end up with a rattle. And everyone keeps saying, "Oh, you could just drill a hole and do it," but you know, it's not going to be flying around the lounge, so I won't bother.
Stefan Carlson, is that?
That's our Stefan. That's our Stefan, the ship guy.
Yeah, he says,
team guy.
Hello, Flensid. Missed yesterday evening, but now I follow you with great pleasure. There you are.
Bless him. So you missed us bigging you up yesterday. I was speaking about you yesterday, bigging you up, and you weren't even there to see it. So you have to watch the show back again. Everyone should watch that show anyway, because it was a good one.
And Rob says, switch on the high definition camera. So that's, I'm assuming that's either we have or he has.
Oh, right. Well, I'm hoping we have, because it should be all working if I've done this correctly now. I'll just have a quick look on our one and make sure we are. Remember, go down in your bottom corner, and where it says like 360, on the little cog, click it to 720, and that should make it a lot better. And it should be.
That's looking all right.
Yeah, I think that's looking quite good here.
You still see me ugly mug, so.
Yeah, see, look, that's actually quite
I'm wearing a matching t-shirt tonight.
Yeah. Oh, see, yeah, because that was mentioned. Somebody did say about if you're back tonight, you should have a t-shirt.
That's what they said.
That's it. So,
oh, well, there you go then.
But actually, if you can do it, click us into full screen, because I'm watching it on our TV, which is a bit odd, and we are in quite good high definition. I can see all my squares on my map. My hind, which I think it must be focusing on, really.
That looks quite good on there.
It does look good now, because I have turned off the autofocus. So if you want to see something quite clever, with our new software, which, you know, I know it's a bit gimmicky, but hopefully, right, hold on, you're going to like this, watch this, right, okay, so obviously I've got to get used to this, okay, so, look, we can pan around now, okay.
So you can have a close-up of you.
Oh, look, it goes the other way, that's the only thing I've
No,
got to get used to.
No, go the other way.
That's it, there he is. So now we can pan and crop and all things like that. But it does look like the hind. Is it me, or is the hind at the front absolutely crystal clear and the rest of it's a bit blurry? Hold on, let me just try one little setting here.
Mind you, you do look a bit hot.
Right, try that. Do I look hot? Sorry, I haven't got makeup on. I should have my
your blushes
and like that powder they have on the telly now. Well, look, I put the autofocus on, but I turned it off because of it playing with the lights and everything. But we'll leave it like that. We'll see what happens.
See what they say.
see what they say.
Chris says, evening chaps. Chris O'Neill.
But give us your feedback on what it's streaming like. That's our big thing, because I think this is as good as we're going to get, possibly. So let us know how we get on. Stefan
says, evening fellas. We got John saying good evening from Kilkenny, guys. Jesper. Hello, gents. Looking great in HD to Denmark.
Brilliant. So we're all working.
Yeah.
It must be good.
And I can't pronounce your name, sorry. Is it Jürgen? Jürgen. I do apologise. Says hello, Phil and Sid.
Well done, everybody. Thank you for coming, because obviously it is a bit of a thing. We sit here,
Indeed,
not sure if anyone's watching.
That's it, yeah. That's a point you were saying about the counter on there somewhere. You said to see how many people.
Right, hold on. Yeah, hold on. We can see on here. We have it down here. So it's 53 viewers at the moment watching us live.
Ah, right. And is that just on your screen rather than in general?
I don't know how it works. I don't think it counts people who are watching it not live.
Right.
So that doesn't count them. If they've started behind.
So we've got 53 live
viewers.
Well, live people, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, hopefully it's live. No corpses.
Gordon says, hi from the North Shields.
Hello, Gordon.
I'm just flicking to page 2.
Oh, we're on page 2 already. How many did we have last night? That was quite a few, wasn't it?
100 it was about 180, close to 180
that's right.
comments.
So if we can get to 200 comments, because it is going up in large lumps each night.
We've got 3 pages.
3 pages. Everyone's on form.
Robbie says, good evening from British East Lancashire. So evening. And Robert Stinchcombe says, evening all. I do apologise for my pronunciations. Carl from.
Tell you what, I'm not even look at the wheel. Do that off camera.
Carl says hello from Louisville.
Louisville.
Back again for tonight. How do you? Oh, there we go. Another question. How do you protect your acrylic silver or chrome finish from lifting off your model when you are using masking tape to paint invasion stripes?
Right. Yeah. The trouble with using all metallics is they are extremely fragile. Now, if you're using things like Alclad and the buffables, they really need to be protected. Otherwise, when you peel it off, you end up taking a layer of paint with it. Okay. Now, I haven't yet to find a masking tape which doesn't affect Alclad. Okay. So, one little technique you can do, which is quite an old one, is if you use it's like a paper. You wet the paper first, quite a thick stock paper. So we're not talking your 80, tracing paper. Do you not yours off?
I do.
That's very posh. Yeah. So if you use a thicker grade paper, i.e. the thickest you can get, you can use them for masking. You wet them and then lay them on, and then they dry and they'll grip. Okay, then you can spray them and then peel it off. All right, you can even re-wet them to peel them off, and you'll get a very nice sharp line with making nothing onto Alclad. And it's the only way I found to go around Alclads without sealing them. The trouble is, if you seal the Alclad, i.e. putting a clear coat over the top, you are going to end up in some ways making a mess with it. It either ruins the finish, and point of fact, many years ago, and we're going back a long time now, I did a Hasegawa F104 Starfighter, beautiful, and it was like a mirror, and it was a commission, and all the rest of it, absolutely great, lovely. So it's a case of, right, got loads of decals, need to decal it, overcoated it, and it looked like someone's kitchen sink. And that was it, completely wrecked it. So it had to be stripped and resprayed, and that was it. So I have never found a good one. That said, Mr. Model, which I don't think I've got it here even, because I had to give away my bottle in the prize draw, so I haven't even got any myself now. But Model Master do a metallizer sealer, which has minimal effect on a metallic finish. Basically, it's a clear gloss. You airbrush it down, or you can hand paint it, and it will give you technically a very nice sealed finish that you can then mask over with either obviously tapes, or you can use blue tacks, or whatever you want to do for masking. But there is no easy fix that I know of actually spraying metallics, of actually masking metallics and coming off, especially when you're dealing with smart finishes, as in mirror type finishes, without reckoning. So unfortunately, there's no easy way. The only one I do, and I have done it before with camo patterns and things like, if you're putting white stripes on, as I say, heavy cardstock paper, nice clean cut with a sharp blade, moisten it, put it onto the actual area of the model you want to mask, let it somewhat dry off, not totally, but basically you can then airbrush your camo work onto it and then you peel it off because it's enough to grip onto it, which isn't so bad when you're doing invasion stripes. My basic advice would be mask your area. So if this is your wing of your model, I take it you're talking like a metal finish on the bottom of a plane, so you've got invasion stripes, something else like that. I would actually do all the paintwork for the invasion stripes first, then do the metal work. So mask each side of it so you don't get any lifting of exactly what you want. Spray your white bar in, okay, mask it, then put your black stripes in, mask it, then do all the silver work. So basically do it in reverse. And that way you won't affect your nice metal finish.
Mm-hmm.
The new metal finishes is something that I will be doing hopefully in maybe November. I'm going to do a build which will have that on it, and we'll be looking at basically that type of effect and finishes, looking not so much at buffables, mainly spraying it down. Alclad's going a little bit old school. Yes, I will put up the smell for it because I get asked a lot. So although it's not my favourite choice of paint for doing it, I like the buffable stuff. I do get asked a lot for it, so I will cover it again. So yes.
Okie dokie. Paul and Sue from Exmoor says hi and it's working fine.
Brilliant.
Trevor Elliott, hi Phil and Sid. Why did you burn the why did you burn the space shuttle platform? I am doing the 144 scale one.
Sid, why did you burn that space shuttle?
A really nice
I was horrified, everybody. I was truly horrified. I was disgusted. You didn't see me take part in any part of that whatsoever.
Yeah, you didn't see what was going on.
Well, yeah, it was terrible. The thing was, if I'm honest, you know, it's like a lot of people said, it was 80 quid. So it's not a cheap thing to burn, although it did burn very well.
It burned very well.
Yeah, it did burn very well. But I maintain that if I was to do it again, which don't think I am, if I'm honest, okay, but if I was to do it again, I could do it quicker, faster, with literally plasticard, styrene pipes and various bits and pieces, than out of the paper one. Because the paper one made extra work, and the level of detail, and no disrespect to the guy who I bought it from, because hell, I bought it off of it, but it wasn't the best. It's I think it may have been a 1/72nd, sorry, the 144 one made bigger because it was pretty grainy. The image quality wasn't exactly brilliant. And I don't think it would take too much to scratch build one, and especially when you are dealing with the weight of that thing up there. It weighs a lot when we put it on scales, and there's no way it's ever going to stand on cardboard, so it's going to need reinforcing. So you might as well build and scratch build the entire thing. But I think if you started off with your box and your tubing coming down, it wouldn't take a lot to put gantries on it and all the bits and pieces. Yes, we are talking quite a large project for a couple of months of work, but I think it would have been easier than trying to laminate that lot to it, because a lot of people said about gluing it to styrene stock and doing it that way, but it wasn't sharp. It was pretty horrible, and especially when you're doing something that big, it wouldn't have looked very good. So it did need to make a fake fall. It did. And later on in that one is when this lot all sat here in this said seat and literally, in their drunken stupors, tried to be me, which was on the new show. Which most of you, well, some of them we had to edit out.
I was quite surprised I didn't get any comments last night actually asking me to say Chevro again. Yeah,
that's it. You could sit here again. I'll go over there.
Right, Neil Neil says, hi guys from sunny Bedfordshire. Years ago, a friend of mine used to make the Tamiya 112 and 124 F1 cars and did an amazing job. Ever thought of making one as he seems to be working? Ever thought of making one as it seems to be a work of art? Yes, they are absolutely amazing kits. Yes, in a nutshell. Next year, I would like to do, as I said, some nice high gloss finishes and things like that. Purely because I'm not very good at it. Not very good at gloss work, unless it's black. And he's also put, when Phil was discussing how he made his experimental filler, I had visions of him in a camper van in the middle of Dartmoor
Close.
Walter White style.
Oh yes, and I'll come out with an explosion, and then come literally hair gone, no eyebrows, but it's great stuff. Yeah, that's it. Everyone thinks I'm doing a meth lab up there or something.
Follow-up question: can we take control of your webcam, please?
No, sorry, you don't. It literally just it's fixed. It's not actually, the webcam doesn't move. It's just software that maneuvers it around. We've got a little gizmo attached on the software side of things now, so I can pan and crop and zoom and do weirdo things with it. In fact, I can do some quite funny things. I'll show you later. At the end of the show, I'll have a play because you can do some quite funny things with it.
Ian has said, can you apply enamels over Vallero's surface primer?
It's a bit of a controversy about this stuff because you get people who say you can't put acrylics over enamels, enamels over acrylics, and various reasons why. Not all paints are the same. Not all acrylics are the same. Like technically polyurethane, you know, is that acrylic? I don't know. It's like a latex based, isn't it? So I don't know how it would actually work. But not having any here, as such, I do actually. Somewhere. Hold on, I've got it. I can find it. Hold on. Let's find out. We'll have a go. I have it here, and the lid even opened. Right, hold on.
There you go, Ian. So keep watching.
Hold on, we will find out live on air. Right.
So this is interaction for you.
Yeah, no, this is what this is all about. This is what we wanted. Cool stuff, isn't it? Right. I'm going to brush it on just to see what happens because I don't want it going through my airbrush, if I'm honest. That's got metallic.
It's one of those things that's called got bristles on it.
Yeah.
I know you don't use it much.
I don't use them very often. No, I don't. Terrible. Right. Okie dokie. This one here is where we did the primer one. So if you were here on Monday's show, this is where I sanded it off, and to prove that you can sand it over or after a bit of time. So what we'll do, we're going to grab a bit here, a bit sparingly because we want it to dry and see. Okay. Right. Next question as we go.
Okay. Next question as we go.
We'll come back to it because it needs to dry to see if it's going to bubble up.
Hello, Russell. So loving the shirt, Sid. Very swish. Evening, gents. Nice to see Sid has dressed up for the show tonight.
That's it.
That's Clive. Dave has put, thanks, guys. John Buller, video stream looking great, even on my phone. Lovely. Is it nice and cold where you are, John, or has it died off a little bit? Seems you're out watching rugby. Alan.
I think you just love the smell of enamels in the morning.
Alan's put a quick tech update for you. The picture quality is the best yet.
Brilliant.
All in perfect HD. Thank you, Alan.
Well, I think it's as good as we're going to get with this. Hopefully. Well, I don't know. I don't really want to leave me gaming rig down here, but we'll see how we go. We're going to have to, I think, if this is now apparently going to be a regular feature. So we will. Where's my cleaner?
Ian's put, Phil, you've become a great ventriloquist.
Well, yeah, I've got you operating me now.
I cannot see your lips move when Sid talks.
That's it.
Cheers from work in the coffee. Colin's put, hi guys, after last night's show, not sure if you are the new two Bonnies or Cannon and Ball.
That's it. Or Ant and Deck.
Last night's show was hilarious. Keep up the fun element.
Oh, we will. You know, this is the big thing with this, is that, you know, obviously it's a bit of a light-hearted evening.
Indeed,
That's the whole point. That's why we have a drink here. And all
I think I was petrified as well.
And he was terrified about doing this yesterday. It's like bricking it. And I know it's very easy because I sit here and yap to you guys all the time, but when other people sit here, they suddenly realise how terrifying it is when I say, right, and we're going live in like 5, 4, and they're like, the smell in here can get quite intense, and it's easy to make people squirm when I literally say, well, there you go, off you go, you know. So it's not easy having guys in here and all the rest of it. So kudos to you, Sid. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
It's your second debut, but last time you were pretty drunk. So that didn't count.
No, it didn't do it. No,
That's it.
yeah.
You had Dutch courage going on.
And then you had to sort of really persuade me to do that as well.
That's
Because
it.
I kept on trying to hide, but it didn't get there anywhere, did it? Hans is on, bless him. Hello, Hans. He's saying, hello, we are on in the USA during lunch break at work.
He's on a permanent lunch break. He never works. He's the boss, he doesn't have to.
Right, just loading up page 3.
I want to know, Ross, Mr. Armstrong, if you're watching this, can you put us on your massive TV in your cinema room and see if it's clear?
We
can have us on this huge thing, yeah, with the popcorn and all the rest of it. Brilliant. We want to know how we look on the big screen. In case we turn this into a film. Feel like the In-Betweeners. When we go on a road trip.
2.5 men, we just need somebody else now.
Yeah, we need half a man.
Yeah.
John, Mr. Buller.
Oh, I'll just wait for the comment coming
Yeah,
back.
he'll get us for that one. He'll be getting shot next week.
So Peter's put, I've used a cheap pound shop screen wash for thinners.
Yeah.
For thinning Tamiya for years.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how this compares to using X20A. Got 2 of them unopened. Oh, and I did the Tamiya Mark IV for the Great War Sig.
True.
Tracks are a doddle over
The Tacken
ones.
Yeah, that's right. Screen wash. I say, you know, the thing is, screen wash was the staple thinners for everybody who was into modelling back in the 70s. Everyone just used screen wash because it was. Well, I don't think it's quite that now, but that's what it is because it's got an alcohol based in it. Most screen washes are alcohol based, and let's face it, that is what all thinners is. They're all alcohol based in some way. So
vodka then?
You could do neat vodka. Yeah. Do you know what? I know somebody who does that. Because he's got this real cheap rough stuff, and it's like, you know. But anyway, yeah, you could even use obviously pure alcohol because let's face it, it's IPA, and IPA is the staple, I think, for most anything really, thinner-wise, and certainly in like airbrush cleaners and stuff like that, they all tend to have an alcohol based in there. I wouldn't drink it for a minute, but certainly it's that's what they are. So. Going back, is it the same? I think you'll probably be pleasantly surprised, but the trouble is, if you've been using screen wash for years, you know how it works and you know what ratios to thin to. So when you move over to a synthetic one, i.e. X20 or X20A, something like that, it's going to be different to what you're used to, and you're just it's going to take a while to get it. But my point is, if you're happy using screen wash, then I would stick with it. You know, you don't need to go out and buy this stuff that's expensive. If you've got a formula that works for you, by all means use it. You know, certainly don't follow the herd. You know, and go out and do it. But I must admit, I did try the screen wash one years ago and didn't get on with it. Yeah, brush looked lovely though, but it was clean. But certainly bubbles coming out of it. Yeah, I can see my face in the chrome work. It was beautiful, but thinning wise, not so much. I must admit, I didn't get on with it. And to be honest, X20A changed my life for spraying because it was one of the light bulb moments. X20A wasn't available in the UK when I started airbrushing, which would have been around about 1994, properly, when I made the big jump. You couldn't get it, and funny enough, I was reading a magazine, and it mentioned it, I think, in a thing that it came from, obviously, the Tamiya stable of products and all the rest of it, and I'd started using Tamiya paints at that point, and I ordered a bottle online, and it turned up a couple of weeks later, and it was like, ding, it works. It was one of those real light bulb moments. Something came, but it was like, great, no problem. Thoroughly enjoyed it, airbrushing from that point. Until then, it just fought me all the time. I just couldn't get anything to work. Right.
There you go.
And that's it.
George. Hi, Phil and Sid. Great evening's entertainment. Please remind me when you do your propose to start the please remind me when you're going to start the Revel HE111.
Maybe back end of next week, as soon as that. Because I'm going to start that before I start on the Typhoon. I know a lot of people are waiting for the Typhoon, but I'm also waiting for everyone else to finish it. Not so I can copy it, but it's a bit like, you know, running a marathon and then joining in at the last bit. So I know lots of people are getting on with theirs and making their way through, so I want them to sort of come through and then I'll do mine. But yeah, the HE111, to be honest, I don't know if you can see it down here. I don't know which angle you're looking at, but behind is almost done. I've got another probably day's work on it just to put all the little bits and pieces and the final tiny bits of weathering on it, and it is finished, it is complete. So that is technically out of the way as of maybe tomorrow afternoon when I finish doing the news show and everything. I'll get that recorded in the morning, edited and uploaded, and I'll come back down and work on this guy, puppy permitting.
Indeed.
And then obviously the weekend, I must admit, I'm having a weekend off. We have friends coming down.
Ooh.
Having the weekend off, which is the first one for a while, and then Monday or Tuesday I will start on the HE 111, so part 1 of that guaranteed will be up next week.
Okie dokie. And that's George from Portsmouth.
Thank you, George.
Ian, Phil, that was me that said Sid needed to be in a flory t-shirt.
That's it.
Thank you, Ian.
So now he's got one.
George has put, by the way, this is much better quality tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. As I say, we're now
to hear.
streaming in glorious HD. I've lost my Sharpie.
Keith Ross, good evening, guys. Enjoying the live stream on my iPhone.
Ooh, very posh.
Adam, evening, gents. Would you guys be up for looking at one of my completed builds and giving a couple of comments or stroke critiques? That's the one.
Yeah.
Have a look at my started threads and check one out.
Who is it?
Adam Challenger.
Right. I'll tell you what, Adam. Stay where you are, and I can just zip across. Hopefully.
What page are we on? We are on
page are you on?
Page 3.
Oh, you're on page 3. I've gone ahead now.
We
page 4.
are comment number 36.
36. Okay, Adam. Let me just go up here and we go members started topics.
Let's see, I wouldn't know to do that.
I see. Okay.
Doesn't say what's completed build. Just says one of these completed builds.
Well, that one's brilliant.
Oh, that one's. Oh,
that's amazing. That looks just like the real thing. That one. Yeah. That Eurocopter's brilliant. I love the black work. Oh no, sorry, damn.
Oh look, that's gone all yellow.
Now he's got all yellow and everything. I'll tell you what, I will try and do something clever here, but it could go horrendously wrong, everybody.
Are you going to try and put it in the corner?
I'm going to try and put it on the screen.
Ooh. That means they don't have to look at us.
No.
Yay.
Okay, hold on. Screen share. I say this could go horrendously wrong. If it does, I apologise, everyone. But you should be seeing now.
A helicopter.
A helicopter. Okay, hold on. I need to go to the helicopter. Yeah, brilliant gloss work. I love the way there's no silvering on those decals. No, seriously.
It's almost like the real thing. Does that mean we misbehave now off camera?
No, because they can still hear us all. I think. I'm not sure. Oh, he's halfway through fielding. Does he want us to look at one he's finished?
He said one, yeah, completed one.
Oh, right, sorry. There's us taking the mic. Right, hold on, Adam. Let me just go back a page and we'll have a look. Completed. Gallery. There we go. Corset. Very nice. I'm assuming they can all still hear.
Yeah, and that looks very nice.
That looks very nice. Nice weathering, nice bleaching work. Chipping on the leading edge of the wings. Very, very nice. I'm not being funny, but that blue is a nightmare colour to work with. It's just horrible. I know. I feel like also.
Decals can't be easy to match up either.
No, that's right. Yeah, getting the decals to sit on that. But I like the chipping work and everything else like that. Fading blue is really, really hard thing to do, to be honest, because it's so easy to go over the top on it. And you end up with a sort of faded blue rather than the bleach blue. The only thing I might suggest, if I may be so bold, is when you're doing this type of blue work, mix it with a little bit of grey, so you make a different colour shade rather than just lightening it by a shade. By going in with like a darker grey, as long as it's a grey that's somewhat going to light it, it will help. Okay, and that way you sort of avoid the sort of lighter look to it. It gives it a change of tone in the blue without making it lighter almost. So you get a more of a bleach look to it. But doing it generally is really, really hard work because you've got the good pre-shading and everything coming through. So I would say try doing it with a little bit of grey and then basically go round. So I'll just revert another one of your others. Finished silver screen McLaren at the centre. This, we know this one anyway. This one was an absolute. I remember this one.
Yeah.
This was an absolute stunner, and that's what we were saying about. Really nice, really sharp, and I think I mentioned it when it was actually part of the reveal that it was nice because the decals, there's no silvering on it, and everything cut in well. And as I say, it's got real presence, that model. So really, really like it. Well done, fantastic work.
Indeed.
So hopefully we should be back now.
So just reading through.
So I don't know if that worked, everybody.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get some comments.
Yeah, yeah. They all start saying, "I can't see you."
So Chris O'Neill is saying video quality is much better today.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wood, bless him, his streaming is awesome, guys, top quality. Bob is saying the Hind looks crystal clear, but Sid is looking blurry.
Yeah, it's this focus depth thing.
But then that could be just be Sid's natural look. That's more like it.
Yeah, it's usually pixelated, so you can't see his face at all. Here you are on there. Look, you're a little bit. I'm going to have a fiddle and see if I can.
No, that's fine. You just
no. But so, yeah, but I don't understand because it should be here's the focal point.
Yeah, but the Hind's much better looking than me.
And the Hind's better looking than me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to play with it too much, guys, because I don't want to screw this up. If I'm honest, okay. I think we'll just go with it as it is.
Andrew says, good evening from Barneveld, the Netherlands. Again, I do apologise if I pronounced it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Watching with interest and a smile on my face. That's what we like to hear. All right, what else we got here? Russell Wood again. Detact Tamiya works well. Detact Tamiya works well for me on metal finishes. Did my Tamiya spit fuse with it today? Oh, right, I'm with it. Yeah.
Yeah. The technique we're talking about. Take your said Tamiya tape, okay, and then it's my old trick on the old back of the hand. Use the oil from your hand doing it, but only do it from the back of your hand, because if you end up doing it from the palm of your hand, you get different oils. Okay, because your hand might have different oils in different places, and you end up making oil marks. Okay, your back of your hand for some reason doesn't have that many, but the bit where you keep doing it until it starts to peel off on its own, and it loses all its tack. So when it's like that, you can come along, and then when you put it down, it's literally just enough to hold it on here. So then when you peel it off, it should have minimal pull on of it, which means you take minimum silver off. But the trouble is, when you are dealing with Alclads, the buffer balls are a little bit tougher, if we're honest. But certainly things like Alclad and the high sheen ones, if you're doing like dull colours, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, certainly if you want a mirror finished chrome, I've wrecked many a one doing that. And the other way is, sorry, if you've got chrome in Mr. Metal, okay, colours, do that one and brush it on with a very soft brush, and actually you put it on my hand, it's harder wearing, okay, and it gives you a deeper, more mirror-like finish than you can get if you put it on with an airbrush, which is something I learned recently. You don't do much silver work?
I don't know. No. I've only done one silver, and I just sprayed that from the normal Tamiya bottle.
Yeah, which is horrible. It's a bit flecky.
But it's a long time since I've done that one.
Oh well, so next week Sid will be doing a chrome saber.
Right, Neil's made a comment. I've noticed that in my many modelling forums there is quite a partisan attitude for and against certain model manufacturers, e.g. Airfix hates Tamiya, love. But it seems to me they have all done the same things at some point in time. Poor molds, reboxing, old kits, and missing parts, etc. Is there any basis in truth for some of their buys, or is it just like the modeller's equivalent of football teams?
It is. To be honest, everyone says like Tamiya is brilliant. Yes, they are, but they've also done some truly pieces of crap. the Harrier, which I know we've spoken about, and I know people turn it into an amazing kit, but how they can still kick that thing out, you know, after the quality, you know, let's face it, you go and buy a Mustang or a Corsair in 30 seconds, and it's like, oh wow, this is brilliant, beautiful. Then the next week you think, oh, I'm going to build a Sea Harrier. And that thing's awful, and they still kick it out. And some of their kits go back to like the 70s. If you look at the sprue dates on them, they're all in the 70s, all the rest of it, which they were light years ahead of development and all the rest of it. Other ones, Airfix, like all companies, you know, they were a struggling company trying to, you know, work in a very competitive market back in the sort of 80s and 90s. And yeah, they've fallen on their face a few times, but they've always managed to pick themselves up and come back. And now they've really come back. So I was a big critic of Airfix's stuff, purely because I went on this bit of a rant many years ago saying how Airfix needed to, you know, basically buck their ideas up, and they wanted young children to come in the hobby, take up the hobby and all the rest of it. They needed to have a kit they could build. They do now. It's as simple as that. Trumpeter, years ago, you know, it used to be the famous trumpeter riveter. You know, and we said he must have been some guy who had a massive hammer, and he used to go, oh, we'll have some rivets here. And they were horribly overdone. Now they've got they're very fine, great finesse to their riveting, and they're rescribing detail and everything else like that. But as I said, I think you could knock every kit. I don't tend to knock kits, as you know. I tend to try and think the best of them, unless it really is bad. Then I'll have a go. But you know, generally, I think we've all built a dog kit from a manufacturer, haven't we? So I think, you know, there is certain forums out there who do like to knock certain things.
I gave up on the said Harrier.
Yes, so did I actually. But yeah, so I think, you know, at the end of the day, forums, like everything, you'll get the haters and the trolls who'll just literally stir up trouble for the sake of it. And as I say, just don't give them air, don't let them breathe.
He's also put on there that one of the things that he was most impressed with was how you dealt with the 124 Typhoon canopy issues. It was very fair, something and professional.
To be professional, pragmatic.
There we go. So
Yeah.
I told you I can't read as well. And in my eyes, greatly enhanced the reputation and integrity of the site. As, for example, you didn't indulge in some of the almost gleeful criticisms I saw elsewhere.
Yeah, that's it. And don't forget, you know, when I'm looking at a kit, especially from a review point of view, some of it you can see there's a fault, okay, but it's not an actual fault. You know, like you get people saying about, oh, there should have been photo etch for the strength of the plates at the back and all the rest of it. Really, you know, I couldn't see. Yes, it would have been nice if it had it, but it doesn't make a fault with the kit. You know, and as a modeler, at the end of the day, we are responsible for putting them together. To be honest, the Hind isn't a perfect kit, and I could like say, oh, this is wrong and that's wrong and all the rest of it, but it's not. It actually builds to be a very nice helicopter straight out of the box, because the aftermarket bits I've used haven't changed anything. It's just enhanced it. So, and I think that's the same with most kits. You know, certainly you could probably knock every single kit if you were that way inclined, but I am a modeler who enjoys the hobby, rather than somebody who is skeptical and will pull a kit apart just because there's things wrong with it. I'd rather fix it than moan about it.
Definitely. That's part and parcel of modelling as
Yeah,
well.
that's right. That's all part of the hobby, really. If you're one of these people, you should be in construction or assembly, isn't it? It's not modelling, is it?
David McKee.
Mackie? Yep.
Yeah, McKee. Good evening, gents. Greetings from Norm Iron. Picture is much improved. Great work, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mark Roberts, evening to you both. Looking forward to another great show and maybe some modelling in brackets.
Yeah, maybe. Ish. Yeah, if we could ever get round to it. I am trying, as you can see here. Well, not great.
You actually cutting something up?
I am cutting something up. Something to do with modelling. I'll just make myself a pen rack.
Is that what it is? Okay, we've got Trevor. Hi, Phil and Sid. Looking great tonight. Yes, it does seem that the camera is focusing on the Hind, but Phil's truck is the clearest I've seen.
I better move it over towards here then. That's better.
You'll just stick it behind the Hind.
Yeah, why is the Hind so clear? You'd think it would be photographed. No, I suppose from the camera's point of view, it's probably down here, isn't it?
That's like the way you're getting your head down and have a look.
Oh, that's it. No, I always do that on the modelling. I get down to the scale effect. So, like, if I'm 1/35th, I'm about here. But if I'm 1/48, I'm here.
So if you want to look through the door and see what it's like
Yeah.
for a model perspective, you've got to get your eye
You've got to get right down there, you see. And then when you start flying it around the room, you know, you have to think of your angles you're at.
Oh, we need help. So who's going to be your assistant tomorrow night? Because unfortunately I can't come tomorrow night.
To be honest, he doesn't know it yet, but I've got Dave coming down, who's the guy from the Snap charity. But he knows nothing about this.
Oh dear.
So he hasn't got a clue what he's letting himself. Well, he doesn't let himself for anything because he doesn't even know he's doing it. Unless he refuses, and that one I'm going to have the dog in here. I'm going to sit Harvey on the seat.
could get your lovely partner Mel in there. So
Well, yeah, could get Mel in here, yeah. Should be alright.
With the puppy as well.
Yeah, get her in the puppy in here, it'll be fine.
And just put for the metallizers, type masking, I use yellow 3mm sticky notepads. Oh.
Well, yeah, that's right. Good point. Yeah, you could do that.
You can still place it on the back of your hand, and then apply for even less stickiness. As Phil mentioned, Model Master Metallizer Clear Coat, perhaps the safest with the least amount of loss of shininess.
Mm-hmm.
Right, what else we got? We got Rob. It's the Phil and Sid Beer and Build Show.
That's it. Yeah, that's what it should be. Beer and Build Show. That'll do. We'll kill right.
Hayden. Mm-hmm. Greetings from sunny South Africa. Loving the Two Stooges show. Sounds more like it.
Yeah, that's about more like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Paul has put, hi guys, hello from Czech Republic. Full screen okay here. Watch when I can, but work evenings.
Oh.
So does that mean he gets a badge or not? Though? He's not been watching it since Monday.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh. I can see your pile of badges getting bigger and bigger, you know.
It is. They haven't turned up yet. I'm starting to get worried.
So you're getting rid of them even before they turned up.
Do you know what? I've only ordered 50. That's the thing. So yeah, I'm waiting for them to turn up. When they turn up and they're good, I'm going to have to quickly really order another 100.
Okay, Nev has made a comment. Hi guys, love the live shows. On the subject of primers, I've heard that if you mix clear 50-50 with the Valero surface primer, it can be sanded or sandable in about an hour. Not tried it myself yet. Just wondered if you have heard this or heard of this.
I have, yeah. Funny enough, one of our members mentioned it. I think was it Monday or Tuesday show. Apparently, it's a way of speeding up the drying time, literally to like 20 minutes instead of waiting 20 days. So yes, I haven't tried it yet. It's something I will have to look into about doing. Wow. Yeah, I've yeah. Yeah, I don't think you'll see much, will you? We'll have to redo that one. Alright, I've got a better idea. We'll just chomp it down in half. But you see, considering our wing bit, it's quite symmetrical.
I don't know, if you cut holes in the middle of it,
what, so we can see?
Yeah, you'd be able to see it.
That's it. I'm drawing my inspiration from Mythbusters. And also, it's got to be quite distressed. I want it to look distressed. So we'll just do it freehand. Oh, Christ. Studio falling apart.
Gareth has put, hi from the sunny Morecambe.
Morecambe?
Yeah,
I don't know, I'm guessing, I can't even see.
I know, that's the only disadvantage, is that you can't actually see what I'm reading.
See what you're reading anymore.
No. Love the live shows. So thank you, Gareth.
Thank you very much.
Keith Ross again. Hello, Keith again. Hello from.
What?
Oh, that's all right. It's the Scottish Dallas. That's right. My partner's mad on Dallas.
Oh right.
Hello from Dallas, the Scottish Dallas, not the Texas store.
Isn't there a new series of that coming back on?
Yes, it's already started.
Oh, is it? Don't tell Mel.
That's why I'm upstairs.
Oh right. I was going to say. I'm sure Mel would want to know all about that.
Yes, he's already watched one.
Oh right.
Loving the live show, live feeds, and very good quality. A quick question, please.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever used luminous paint for formation lights?
Yeah, slime lines. In a word, no, I haven't. The only time you'd really need that is if they're supposed to be on, isn't it? I suppose at night. You can buy slime line electrical stuff, can't you? You can actually buy it. And I think there's a manufacturer out there now who actually does them in scale as well. So you can buy a 1/48 or 1/32 slime line that you attach to your model and wire into it. Very low voltage. I think they're only something like 3.5 volt system. Similar to the one where the guy did the, sorry, I've forgotten your name, who did the fantastic Millennium Falcon. It's got a giant slime line strip on the back of it, which makes the same thing. But actually, if you're using luminous paint, the only drawback to that is surely you'd have to be in the dark to see it.
This is true, yeah, unless you put a light on it.
I was going to say, so then you'd be in the dark, so you wouldn't really see it very much, would you? Well, I'm guessing, but...
Let's get all your LEDs there. That light up for you on your destroyer. Charged it.
Oh yeah, I could do. So I could do that later. I'll plug it in. Now we're in HD, everyone will be able to see it. Right, so we're going with that. So I'm going to distress the bottom just by cutting it with skizzers, so it looks like plate metal being cut up.
Patrick's just tuned in. Picture's a lot better than yesterday, and Jess, make this a regular thing.
Oh, I think we will. Everyone seems to like it. When I started this, I was thinking, no one's going to watch this. Or if they are, they're not going to like it because it's not in our normal format.
86 viewers at the moment.
Yeah.
So that's good. Gordon Clay. Hi. Quick question. I am finishing off a Revell Spitfire Mark 11A. I have applied several coats of clear. How long should you leave it to dry before applying a wash?
24 hours minimum. Yeah, would be my thing. If you put down your normal bottle of clear, the usual ones, or any type of acrylic gloss, 24 hours.
So I've done the mistake of just putting it on too soon. It just mixes. It goes horrible.
Won't get it off. It welds in. So yeah, 24 hours definitely to let anybody's wash go off, especially ours, because the clay otherwise will. Literally what happens is, because there's only water, there's no nasties in our wash, what it tends to do is rehydrate acrylic. Because being water-based, it sort of mixes, so it hasn't got a hard enough finish to it to be able to wipe off. So yes, definitely.
It's also nice to see that Sid is not getting eye strain tonight.
No, he's all right tonight.
It just means you can't read what I'm reading.
No. You filtering them now, are you?
Russell, looking crystal clear on a 42-inch Panasonic.
Actually, we're looking quite good over there, and that's on my 42-inch Sony. So that's all right. We're doing all right, you see. So yeah, we're okay. If you're getting too hot, shout, and I'll open up.
No, I'm all right for the moment.
You sure?
Yeah. I'm just getting a shock of actually seeing myself on TV.
I can turn you off if you don't want to look at yourself.
Right, Gary has made a comment. I was doing good with one beer a week until I started watching the new show. Now it's going to be back to the AA.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's where I'm going to be on Monday. Hello, I'm back again. I'm the modeler bloke.
Yay! We've got Shannon still watching us tonight.
Shannon. For everyone who doesn't know, Shannon's one of our guys who comes up to the Geek Meets because he's from Plymouth, which again is about half an hour down the road.
Don't know about the two one, he's more like little and large.
Yeah, hold on. What's he trying to say? Which one's the large one here? Where's he gone? Ready to action.
Robert, I'm trying to do some older kits with raised detail. What is the best way to weather these? And also, what is the best way to post shade and what mixture?
Right. Older kits, raised panel lines, okay. Obviously, you can use a wash, and I'm not just going to endorse mine all the time and all the rest of it, but you really should be using mine. Because what you can actually do, if you wipe it off across the grain against the flow, so obviously if you've got your panel line going down, just wipe crossways, it will build up on both sides and give you the effect exactly the same as you do with the recess. One of the things it's worked for.
So if you do the said group build that you're saying,
yeah,
doing that, so that
I could do that because it saves on to rescribe it. Yeah, but yeah, if you go across the grain of the panel line, if you like, so don't go with it, go across it 90 degrees to it. You will leave wash each side of the raised panel line, and you can just basically give it a wash like that. I did a Hercules many moons ago, raised panel line one, and that's what I did to it, and it looked fine. Post shading and things like that. Obviously, I would recommend watching the Hind video because I've given that probably around about 7 coats of paint now in total, where I've gone back and forth between lightened colours and dark colours, and I've lightened up the green with the sand colour, and sort of vice versa and things like that, to give a sort of mottly effect to it, to really sort of break it up and make the paintwork look quite worn and natural and touched in. I want it to look like it's been touched in every now and again, things like that, without looking brand new effect. Okay, so I did that one. Also, there's various builds you could go back and watch about me fading and things. The Intruder one's quite a good one because it's on the big model. It's 30 seconds ago. You can see what I'm doing, so you can actually see about bleaching, fading back, and everything else. If you're doing something with camo work, watch the Tornado one, which I'm doing next week. Be working on all next week, because we're going to be talking about something different there. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to pre-shade it in black, very, very heavily, to the point where it's almost all black. So the grey areas from the actual panels and that which are left are going to act like pre-shading in reverse almost. So the light will be a form of pre-shading instead of the dark, if it makes sense. Because when you're doing camo work of green and dark grey, you can never really see it. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to show you about wiping back through the paint layers to give distressed look, which is something I did with this guy, but I'm going to do it a lot more. And I know it sounds all a bit complicated and probably lost you all now, but just bear with me, because I'm going to try something totally different on the Tornado. But yeah, watch the Hind. The A6 is a good one. I'm just trying to think what else is pretty heavy weathered and bleached in. Yeah, they're the 2 best ones to watch. And then obviously, if you want to know about weathering with it, then the F4B was showing the wash and how to paint over the top of the wash to give you that sort of corrosion control look and things like that. So that's that one.
We got Ian, who's made a comment. Great shows. Only problem is I get about as much modelling work done as you are over the last few nights.
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah. Just starting a Edard BF 109 E1. Looking for advice on how to airbrush the mottled camo pattern without making it look like coloured blobs. That's where your templates come into play, isn't it?
It is. As I said, I cheat. Actually, I think Hans do set of these as well. They're Airwaves, the metal people. These guys here, which are the templates for doing mottling. To be honest, yes, everyone can mottle. When I teach here as well, I show mottling. And as I point out, you can do it and it's lovely and we make it look great. Or you come along, you put this down, bit of blue tack and each one, spray it, job's done. And it takes you like hours to do it by hand, or 30 seconds doing it with using templates. Personally, I think the templates are the easiest and more straightforward way of doing it. And it does take all the sort of risk out of it and all the rest of it. If you want to make it look old, have the template further away. If you want to make it look new, put them closer to it, because it fades the edges and makes them a little bit more fuzzy and stuff like that, really. So that would be my recommendation.
So that's a worthwhile tool to get them.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd be surprised in where else you use it, because you know, I use this one for other things as well, because I'll take some of this, you know, the pattern, and I might just use, you might be able to see I've got the couple of colours there, so I've got a couple of colours just on this guy, this area here where I've masked over, because I've used that for doing weathering effects on other things. So I might just want a splodge or a touch in, so I use that, put it over it, spray it in, so it looks like it's had a touch in. And then the other thing as well, if you've got the trouble where you can't fit it around the shapes, just mask off some of them and then put them down, spray it, take it off, put it down onto it again, take it off, and move it all the way around and everything else. But it just takes the, you know, the effort, if you like, out of it. So if you're not very good,
so
it doesn't matter if you're very good. I tried it
once and it just looked like I put a paintbrush on it and it's just a splodge here and a splodge there, and it, didn't look good at all.
No. And you know, to be honest, if somebody said to me, "Will you build me a 109?" I'll just use a template. I would never dream of doing it by hand. Yes, you can do it, and perhaps afterwards, once you put on those by hand, if you want to change them slightly, you can go in there afterwards. But at least you've got the bulk of the pattern done for you, and then you can just pop in then and adjust it as is required by freehand. Or if you just wanted to sort of weather it you know, to give it a more distressed looking paint job or something else like that. So certainly that's what I would do anyway.
Righty-ho. And we've got a question from Adam, which is based at you.
Right.
Do you or have you ever entered a model into a competition? If so, how did you do?
No, never.
So I know you
know
won something, but you didn't actually enter it.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
They came round and looked at your table, didn't they?
I did.
That was impressive.
Yeah, that was quite clever. That was. Yes. Okay. If you're saying that way, yes, I won the best Harrier IPMS Nationals a few years ago. And I do have to thank the Harrier SIG for voting my Harrier as the best one in the entire show. And I didn't even enter in it, and it wasn't even on our table. I put it on a friend of ours' table because they needed some models to pack it out a bit, and I just said, well, look, take my Harrier and put it on your table, and somehow it walked away with the best Harrier in show.
And that was quite a nice little trophy you had as well.
And it was, I did. They gave a beautiful trophy, which has gone back now, but it was the Harrier control stick with a vein from the blade and a Harrier all in silver. And it was very nice. Yes, thank you, Harrier SIG, for that. It was absolutely lovely. It's over there in the cabinet. Going back on track, no, I've never entered. It's funny you say that, and then no, I've never entered. I don't model for competitions. A lot of I have to be careful because it makes you sound like a right big head. I don't enter competitions purely because I do this as a full-time job. Okay, so my way of thinking about it is that if I wanted to do it as a competition, I could spend quite a long time and an enormous amount of money to produce an amazing kit, but I'm being paid to do it. So it's like having Michael Schumacher at a go-kart race, isn't it?
That was a good
comparison. Not now, obviously, but that's the way I used to look at it. It's a bit like saying, oh, well, look, and I've spent all my, you know, your weekend's money, and you've worked really hard to take part in something, and then you get some guy who comes along who gets paid to do it every day of his life. It's not really on, is it? So that's why I don't enter in competitions. And also, a lot of my stuff was always commission work, because obviously it has to pay the bills, so it was commissions and stuff like that. So, you know, obviously they went off. Although I did have one of my models once, which I sold to somebody, ended up in the show, and did win. In second.
It's a bit crafty.
And it wasn't even his model.
I was going to say, it's a bit crafty.
And it's only because I've got a friend of mine who saw it on my website, saw it at a show, and sent me a photo saying, is this isn't that yours? And I'm like, it is. And he goes, it's just got silver. Well, I was very disappointed. It should have got gold. So yeah, that's my point of view. And to be honest, I don't do it for the winning. I don't do it to win. I do it because I really enjoy it. And I enjoy the friends I make and the people at the show. And I think when you get a little bit competitive, that sort of changes a bit, and everyone gets a little bit snipey.
Well, so this local club that I belong to, obviously they put little competitions on in the shows. But again, I've never put one in. One, because obviously I've only just started modelling. But also, again, to my mind, I'm building it because I want to, not because I want to enter into competitions and stuff. I don't mind showing them off. Yeah. But I don't really want to put them into a competition. No. But that's just my personal.
Yeah, it's a personal thing. So yes. So going back, answering your question, no, I have never technically entered a competition, knowingly. But I don't get me wrong. Well, most of the people we know do, don't they? The guys all come here, a lot obviously the members and things like that, they all do enter in competition, and that is their passion and that's what they enjoy. We've got friends of ours who are IPMS judges and everything else, and you know, as you say, if you're into that side of thing, that's great, but I'm here more for the fun and the hobby than the competition side of it.
Neil, now I do apologise because there's abbreviations as well here, so I'm getting a WNW Vodka E1V, so it's
a Wingnut Wings.
Oh yeah, Wingnut Wings Vodka E4.
Right.
For Christmas. Well, that's a bit early, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Did you ever use those buckles you bought for the triplane?
No. Bob's Buckles, that's obviously what we're talking about here. Fantastic product and all the rest of it. I just found them a bit fiddly. And I found an easy, well, I wouldn't say easier, but a different way of doing it. Instead of using the buckle system and all the rest of it, I put super glue on the end of the elastic to make it go rock hard, drilled a hole, put it in, back painted it, a little bit of glue and all the rest of it, and it gave the effect of a buckle. And you've never done a one?
I haven't, no.
World War One riggy thing?
And again, that, yeah, like you, to start with, that would scare me to death, trying to do that.
So that's like next show, is it?
Yeah. I got that again, local club, bless him, he's elderly gentleman. He builds them in 72nd scale. Yeah. And he does the rigging, and they look absolutely amazing. But again, how you can actually get away with it, I do not know, because yeah, that's a patience of whatever, because I couldn't do it. No, that's right. You know, the guys who do World War One, as I say, hats off, kudos to them, because I also, now I've done one, I appreciate how much work goes in, and it's things like, it's different techniques you might not normally do, because you've got wood, linen, rigging, and the scale effect for doing it. It's all stuff you don't do on a Hind or a Tomcat or something else. So it's a completely different learning curve, and you know. So the other part of this comment was, I've been eyeing up gas patch buckles, as they seem an easier way of doing the rigging, especially as being a monoplane. It'll be a focal point of the model. Any thoughts on the rigging and on the gas patch in particular?
Yeah, see, I looked at into all of these when I was doing mine, and I reviewed, I think, a few at the time, the gas patch ones, obviously Bob's buckles, and things like that. Again, you are correct. When you're dealing with World War One, even if you're looking at the real thing, the rigging is such a focal point of it. It's such a big part of it. You can't help but look at it and be drawn to it. And you see where you've got the different, what do they call it? The system of actually pulling the cables together, the rigging, the actual system where they sort of screw and all the rest of it. It's a massive piece of engineering and very, very clever. But it's extremely time-consuming and fiddly. You look on YouTube, to be honest, and there's some guys on there done some amazing videos. You see them, they're twisting and they're clicking, and it looks amazing. But that's one of those things where it's not just a straightforward an evening's rigging. That's like a couple of weeks rigging, isn't it? I suppose you'd have to do it as you go along. And
I suppose you'd only be able to do a certain amount of it as well, because it gets tiring, or your fingers start getting tired and stuff like that as well. So
yeah, and we're back to a head magnifier then. Yeah, you need that and good light. Somebody said in the comments after we came off air last night about another modelling essential is a good light. It's very true. You should have a good light. You know, to say, I've got these really great things which make us sweat.
They do indeed.
But as you say, the thing is, if you haven't got good light, it does strain your eyes, and you will bugger your eyes up, I think. You know, if you're working under a 40-watt light bulb in the old days, what's that now, 5-watt or whatever, I'm an energy saver, but you know, it would really give you a headache, I think, very, very quickly. So good lighting is the modelling essential. Daylight bulbs, even the modern energy saver ones, which these are. Yeah, these are 130.
Very eco-friendly then.
Yeah, well, not really, 135 watt each. Have you not seen one of these bulbs?
I don't know. Because you've always got the cover on them. So it gets a big box out and there's a small thing inside.
Yeah, it's tiny. These are actually slightly smaller than the last ones we had, but they're still quite impressive. That's the bulbs I use.
Do they take time to warm up like normal?
Yeah, not long. Normally around about sort of a minute. Not as long as a normal energy saver. But,
at least you're trying to do your bit then.
Yeah, these are a 24 centimetre, 135 watt, 5,500 K. I think that's the lumen number, which means basically daylight. 240 volt, 8,000 hour bulb. Again, look on eBay for them, because if you go down to Maplin's, they're like 25 quid a bulb or whatever it is. You pick them up on eBay for a £5. Although one thing I've learned, if I take any studio lights and show them out the window, then at any type of change of temperature, they go. Ice bucket challenge for Mel. Put one of them out there, bang went the bulb.
Oh dear.
Straight away. Good job I've got spares. Always carry spares.
So again, I do apologise. Is it Jurgen again? I've got
Jurgen. Yeah.
Jurgen. I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I do apologise. He's saying, enjoy your weekend off, Phil. I'm looking forward to your next video builds.
Oh yes. So as I say, we've got part 12 of the Hind build coming up on tomorrow, and then as I say, because of, to be honest, doing this, because even editing the other bit of this took me sort of 2 hours to sort out. So it has put me somewhat behind this week. So for you guys who are watching this or have been, it'll be all right. We'll catch up next week. And having a new puppy doesn't help. Puppy poo everywhere.
It's just like another child, isn't it?
Oh yes. This one I can't slap.
This is true. And you can't let it go on a naughty step either.
No, it's it.
Peter Field.
Love you, Liam.
Hi again. I won't be changing from the screen wash. The only reason I got the X20A was to go with the Tamiya matte varnish.
Yeah.
Still haven't used either, as I'm been using Valero matte for a few years. With regard to metal colours, give. I'll let you read that one again.
Oh. Size Master?
Yeah, something like that.
Size Master? I haven't heard of them.
No, nor have I. Ultimate Colours a go. They're good. I've hardly used them as they're very little shiny. But there's very little shiny stuff on a tank.
Well, this is true. Yeah.
I should have read the end of the sentence first, and that would have made sense. Perry, hello from the shores of Lake Huron.
Very nice.
On Air Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I have really enjoyed watching the videos of the live shows in the evenings. The new Phil and Sid format is a blast. And again, thank you very much for putting it in big writing, because at least I can see what I'm trying to read.
That's it.
He's got a
if
question.
this goes well, we can afford specs. I can take you to Specsavers. I'll put it on the company bill. Thanks, everybody. As a cop, yeah, because you all pay into Flory Models, you will be paying Sid some specs.
Oh dear, that's my schooling.
Yeah, that's it.
Perry's also asked a question.
Oh, great. Yep.
Any advice on how to apply 2 separate colours of the frame of an aircraft canopies? For example, the outside frame is painted in the base aircraft colour, and then there is a silver colour or white colour frame immediately adjacent or as a cross member.
Yeah, on aircraft, especially the Russian ones, you also get the sealer between the metal and the glass. And US Navy aircraft have it a lot, especially the windscreen one. So sometimes I think that's what he means, that little one. The easiest way to do it is to mask to the inside. So literally, you put down one colour and you sort of mask it, and then over mask it, and then spray the outer one. So spray to the inside. Mask to the inside one for the lighter colour, if you like. Spray that, then mask over that and go round. Or if it's a buffy colour, he says, if US Navy aircraft, they tended to use this sort of buff colour, and when you use this tape, this is that really, really thin. This is, I think this is 0.7 mil actually. Is this the 0.7? Let me just see. Yeah, this is the 0.7 mil stuff. It's extremely thin. You can actually put this down and crimp it down in place all the way round. And then if you give it a gloss coat, whilst the glass is still masked, over the top of it, it will seal it down, okay, and keep it down. So you can use tapes to give that effect of the sort of the putty or like the rubber seal and things like that as it goes round. Or you can even get decals, because with the Red Arrows one, it's a decal that runs all the way around to give you that sealer look. Sorry, on the Hawk.
Yeah.
And it does that one all the way around, which is quite a nice touch. But yeah, if you've got the situation like obviously on the inside, I spray from the outside first, and then obviously the top colour on the top, so it gives you that look. But if you're talking about the seals that they have around them, especially the Russian stuff, it tends to be like putty, really thick. It looks like somebody put it in with a thumb all the way round. Then you can actually use thin tapes, even paint the tape and put it round all the way. I know people who've actually used, which is quite a nice little technique, you can buy now, which I wasn't aware of until a couple of months ago, flat lead wire in various thicknesses. you can paint it and then put that on. PVA glue it around, so it gives the effect of a seal around the outside.
Also gives a 3D effect.
And it gives you a 3D effect, yeah. But it's like a flat lead wire, so you can pre-paint it and then stick it around. So I think I've only got any of mine, yeah.
And PVA glue fixes the lead wire in place, does it?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, if you use, the way I do it is sort of my latest technique. I do it on high now and all the rest of it. If you take something like a crystal clear, thin it, 50-50, so it's literally the consistency of milk,
so I've been
and then track that round, and you can put on multiple coats. But what it does, it goes around all on its own, fills all the gaps and everything, and it's crystal clear. And to be honest, I did all the wiring work with it. All that new wiring work on the base is literally, I just brushed it over the top, and then it all zips down to obviously the capillary action onto all the pipes and everything, and locks them all down in place. So that was the idea with that one.
Okay, he's recently tried to paint the white adjacent strip on the rear canopy of a 1/72 Matchbox F9 Panther. I struggled with the paint of the base colour pulling away with the Tamiya masking tape when I tried to mask the second colour. Yeah, you're going to need to pop round with the blade. As I say, I am guilty of it. Which was the worst one? Because I've done it on so many. To be honest, I did it on the F4B, and I've also done it onto the Nighthawk. If you look at those videos, mainly the Nighthawk, because I covered it in depth on there, if you don't cut it with a knife, because it had so many coats of black, when I peeled it off, it took the entire lot off. So I had to remask it and repaint that entire canopy again. And that's not amusing. And that's not amusing. And to be honest, it's not going to be shown on camera because I just took it off. There's nothing really to see. But with the height, because it had so many coats of paint, I was aware of it. So all I did, I used a brand new razor blade. I just used a straight edge, one of these guys, okay, and literally zip it all the way around and then peel off your masking tape, because there's nothing worse, especially on helicopters where it's thin bars. If you actually take it off, it's so hard to put back to the point where it's almost impossible to get it back to look good without remasking it off. So yeah, that's what I would recommend, because otherwise it just peels off. Russell's put the cut to the forearm worked really well. Don't know what that's in connection with. Cut to the forearm. Yeah. Oh yeah, where we cut to the forearm when you show the pictures. Oh, it works. Oh yeah, that's right. It works. Yeah, it works. Thanks, guys. So it terrifies me to do that, just in case it doesn't. You know. See, if I move down here, it's clearer. So I reckon we need to move the camera up. But then we're going to get all the lights, because the studio lights will be in it, and we'll all be wiped throughout. Because I must admit, the reviews, because I had the camera over there for us, both the reviews tomorrow are a little bit pasty. See got the sun behind me. Doesn't work. Should have moved the camera over. Although, do you like my new rig where I've got the webcam bolted now to the main camera? I did notice that yesterday. So wherever you move the camera now, the webcam goes as well. Hey, Lee's here as well, bless her. Evening, both looking very smart in your matching shirts. Oh, we do. Just don't put it through on the tumble dryer, because as I found out the other day, which you guys didn't spot it, but if you notice, my lettering had all gone. It was like FL, nothing, Y. And I think models and codot were missing off the bottom because it had peeled off because it had gone through the tumble dryer. Oops. So don't put it through the tumble dryer. They're not tumble dryer safe. Just going back out to the cave to work on the bus, but taking you both with me. So keep it up. Keep up the laughs. There you go. Oh, we will. So have the threesome. Oh. In the shed. In the shed. But is Russell there as well? Well, this is it. Yeah, it's Ross there, that's the thing. Spencer, speaking of nightmares, US Navy blue. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Speaking of nightmare US Navy blue, fancy doing a video build of the Tamiya 132nd Corsair. We spoke about, was it last night I spoke about it? I think it was last night. Yeah. So. I'm going to do the bubble top version because the kit is due out, whatever, any minute. Because obviously the birdcage I've got down here, but when the bubble top one comes out with a different canopy, the newer version, I will do that one at some point. But then purely because of that, so working with the blues. There's also been comment that you've already did one. Yeah, I have. And somebody's put the link up for you. Yeah, thanks. Just to like keep me reminded of that nightmare build. Yes. Ross Armstrong, he's the guy who had that.
I'm surprised this house is still standing. I thought it might have burned down. It's like voodoo doll, that thing. Ever since it left the studio, there was this like lightning of the atmosphere. I was like, oh! All the lights got suddenly brighter, and as it flew, like, I was amazed it got there because it flew by FedEx, and I thought it was going to be like, what's the plane? Yeah, Wilson. What was that called? Tom Hanks' Castaway.
Oh, right.
Where he's on a FedEx plane.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that was it. I thought it was going to end up being Ross's Winston, maybe on an island somewhere with a plane.
I'm with you now, yeah.
Not knowing that this is the plane that caught us there. Evil, that thing was evil.
Gareth has put, watch, oh, I clicked too far there. Watching on LG 50-inch and in the HD is looking great.
Lovely job.
Only been here for a short time, but everyone has been so friendly. Well, that's what we like to hear.
That's it, absolutely.
This is my first build on here, painted with a cheap Rebel hair and little compressor that I got from eBay for £25, and he's put a picture up of it. I'm just going to have to show Phil because he can't see it on the other screen.
Yeah, well, that's really nice. That's the mullet, isn't it? Isn't that the Wildcat, which is the RAF Navy version? Sorry, it was known as the mullet or the marlet, I think.
It could be actually because I've just recently built one, but I've done it with the wings folded.
Oh, right. But no, that's actually a very good paint job. And it just goes to show you don't need to have a 500 quid airbrush and compressor and everything else. Do you know? It's not the boots that score the goal.
Stephen Shepherd to Phil, you asked for suggestions for paint colours. How about doing the Scooby-Doo van colour scheme?
I know, I did get your PM, but I only actually saw it literally as we were coming on air. As I was sat here setting this all up at 5:02, I did see that. Yeah, doing it as the mystery machine.
Yeah, that'd be quite good, actually.
Yeah, that's it. I did think that.
Oh, there we go, and somebody's put a picture up of it as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the one. Oh no, that's complicated.
George has put, chaps, how about taking the hind from the shot and see what the camera does then? No, because the hind looks better than us.
Also, I've got a feeling because it's white, it might knock the white balance. We'll try it. See, look, it's very white down there.
It is, isn't it?
It's very, very white down there.
And now we're both wearing black as well. That's probably doesn't help either.
Yeah, that's because that's why I put it there, to be honest, to secure the white balance. I don't know. Who's sticking back?
Yeah, he looks much better there.
Yeah, he's better than us. Yeah.
It's a focal point.
I think what it is, guys, is that the webcam, to get us both in, is pointing at behind it to do it. If we have it any higher, we've got these bloody great studio lights in here, and that'll play havoc. I'm amazed the LEDs aren't doing it, actually, because that's what caused the problem last time. Well, it looks nice.
It does.
It's better than what I'm building.
It's a centerpiece.
It is. We'll have that on the dining room table.
I'm still getting there slowly.
You're about as far as I got after 2 nights as well. Now you know what it's like.
Righty-ho. Ooh. You might know the name more than me.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't. I'm guessing it's maybe one name. Hassie Conan? I'm
That's
just
fine.
guessing.
I thought I'd let you pronounce it rather than me.
I thought you did. I thought that was the message there.
Good evening, gents. Question for Phil.
Mm-hmm.
How do you paint the tubing and electric line when they are moulded in the parts, for example, gearbox? Same question when you paint the molded detail at the ejection seat, especially when you need to paint the oxygen bottle in a green colour. Yeah,
true. To be honest, I sort of cheat. I tend to dry brush to bring out the detail. So if it's on unless it's white, so if you were doing like a wheel well and it's white on the inside, then I will probably use something to very lightly brush over the top, like a flat brush, but not pointing downwards. You sort of go across and let the capillary action track all the way across anything that's raised. When you're doing bottles and things like that, I tend to paint them green, and if I haven't done a good job, then what I'll do is I'll go in with like a wash or a thin mix of like the base colour and let the capillary reaction give you a nice sharp line all the way around, because I find that works better than trying to get a brush in there to physically get around and do it. Some of the detail on the hind as well, obviously occasionally it's easier to take it out, so I'll just sand it off and replace it with a lead wire trick, which is either pre-painted like we did with the hind, or you can just use the silver colour to put them in as well. So sometimes if you're in that thing where it's a nice good focal point and the moulded in the hoses and that look a bit naff, sand them off, paint it all and replace it. It's sometimes quicker to replace it than it is to flap around trying to paint it. But the other thing as well is that even if you make a slight hash job, if you're painting it and get a little bit of silver goes over or anything else, don't panic too much, because if you use something like an Indian ink wash to wash it all over, the capillary action of that is great, and it will go everywhere and it will stick to the edges and it will hide the joint. Okay, so that black line, and it gives you the shadow look. So that is definitely, I know it's a cheat and a trick, but that's what this is all about. It's all smoke and mirrors, and that's how I do a lot of my ones. So generally, dry brush it, unless it's white, because obviously dry brushing near white, then will just show it up, okay? But if it's in blue, if it's any other colour, like a seat, if it's a black seat, dry brush it with grey to show all these cables and everything coming up. Basic rule of thumb when you're doing anything small scale is, don't use silver, use grey, okay? And don't use flat black, use a rubber black or a very dark grey, because it works with the scale effect. And for instance, now I haven't used XF1 black for ages. That's unopened, that one, because now I've gone through 2 bottles of XF85 rubber black. I find it is a better scale black. Which
is that on any scale? Any scale.
I've got a colleague of mine who actually works for and I can't say it because I'm not allowed, he works for a very popular movie company involved with things like Star Wars. And he's a good friend of mine. Hi, Chris. I know he's not going to watch this ever, but just say in case he is. And they are not allowed to use black. It's as simple as that. They are told you don't use black. You never use black. And actually, you don't use white. It's all shades of. But their company policy is that you never use a black. It's usually a very dark grey, or like a rubber grey, or a blue grey, or a blue black, but never just pure black, because pure black from a cosmetic point of view and looking at it is too strong. So there you go. So he told me that once, and I thought, well, he's got to be right. He must know what he's talking about. Hi, Chris.
Michael's Zueta.
Yeah. See, I know it.
I didn't like yesterday. Jolly good day, fellows.
Cheers, Michael.
I find that I scroll back and forth trying to find where you are at with your questions and your answers.
So does Sid.
Would it be possible to periodically say the post number? Yes, I can do, of the question you're reading. Right. It would help to find what place we are at in the questions. That's and simple things, really. Yeah, okay, so your post in there is number 76 on page 6.
Look at that, see?
Oh, and did you like the counterclock link I sent you? There are others around online, but I think that one was the best. Yeah, obviously, Michael, we spoke about this before. I will have a good look at these, and I am having a meeting with some of the other guys, the team guys, about SIGs, forums, and everything else next week. I'm sure that it will all come up in there as well, so we'll hopefully sort everything out. Michael Wilson, hi Phil and Sid. Can you use white spirit for the decal melting trick?
No. It will burn. I think it will burn. I've never tried it, but again, always test it first. Don't ever put it straight onto your model. Wherever it is, I had it yesterday. Have I used it?
Yes, I've not watched that trick.
Have you not watched it?
No.
So you're sat here now.
No, it's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. I use the blue top. It's a standard enamel metal thinner, so don't use the buff one because that's cellulose or lacquer, depending where you are in the world, because the Americans call it lacquer.
Right, okay.
We call it cellulose.
Because I've got Rebels cellulosis, I think.
Yeah, don't do that because it will melt on the spot.
Right.
You really want it ground in, it will. You never get it off.
We'll give it the warm look.
As I say, I know enamel thinners and white spirit is very, very close, but I think they are different. And I could be wrong, and if anybody else, obviously, guys, you know as well as me, just post up if I'm incorrect here, that's fine. But I just don't want somebody saying, yeah, and it ruins a decal, because I'm not living with that one. So yes, test it first though. My advice would be, if you're having a different brand of decals, place one of the spare decals on a spare something and give it a whirl with it. Because talking to John about it, he says he has had them where they've melted, but it depends on the manufacturer and what the actual film is and what inks they've used and so forth and so on. So it's one of those things. Test it, and if you haven't got it on a spare bit, test it on a bit of a model that doesn't matter too much, or would be an easy touch in, or you could just not worry about before you go ahead and chuck it straight over like I did on these numbers. You know, do it somewhere a little bit discreet and try it first, but please don't just chuck it on, because if it doesn't go right, it's going to end in tears, isn't it?
So up to number 78, which is Richard. Good evening, gents. Thanks for a very entertaining evening yesterday. Can you advise me how or if adhesive can be removed from clear parts?
Yeah, you know, clear parts, they are so delicate. Depending on where it is. If it's on the outside, you could almost just sand it off and then polish it back up. If it's on the inside, it's going to be a lot of problems, okay? So just be careful. If you're on the inside, I would try things like scraping it off very lightly with wood, because sometimes that is enough to chip things off, but not quite enough to scratch it. But generally, rule of thumb, if it's on the outside, like I've had it before, I've had super glue on the outside and it's fogged slightly, but because it's all on the outside, no problem, just sand it all off and then just work your way through your polishers to bring it back to being a nice glossy finish and no problem. If it's in the situation where you've got it where it's on the inside, especially if it's a tight area and you can never get right in there to polish it up, then just be careful with it. But I'm not aware of any type of solvent that you can just rub on there and to get rid of it. You know, so the only thing you could do, if you've got a situation, perhaps you get overspray on the inside of a canopy, or you've got some release goo from sellotape or whatever, you can use a little bit of airbrush cleaner on a cotton bud and just give that a wipe around. You'll find that that is enough to get rid of glues and residue.
Mm-hmm. We got Mark Roberts on number 79. Sid, where is the Type 45?
Yeah, you said
it's
that.
On my wish list. Is it any good? Bearing in mind I'm a new modeler, it looks okay to me, but perhaps if you've not reviewed it, I can drop it down and you can review it and see what you think of it.
What, have you half built it?
No, it's still on. It's still on.
Oh, right, okay.
It's out of the bags, but it's still in the box. I haven't taken anything off the screws or anything.
Mm-hmm. That's all right.
So if you want to review it,
yeah, that's fine.
Then you get somebody else who obviously does reviews on kits, because as I say, for me being a newbie, it looks alright for me. I've also been out and bought the photos.
That's right. You said you got the railings.
Yeah, I got that at Telford last year. So hope. So it's just one of those kits I think you need to spend the time on, especially because it's in such a small scale as well. Trying to put all the photo etch bits on it, I would have think can be quite a
well, it took me a while on mine when I did the Iwo Jima, sticking it all on there.
So you kept on knocking bits off and all sorts.
Right, as soon as you do one end, you knock it and off it pops. Yeah, I remember it well.
And again, with Mark, he's put on here, Phil, airbrush courses. When will you be starting again? The site only goes up to August.
To be honest, they've never finished. It's just that we're booked up. The next course I've got in here is on the 27th weekend of September. That's fully booked. October, to be honest, I'm away a little bit of it. And the back end is booked on the last one. November, to be honest, we've got Telford, and then I'm having the weekend off after Telford because I think I'm going to need it by then. So that will take us up to the end of November, I do believe. I did contact some people this week actually for some spaces I've had. to be honest, as I say, it's not a case of I'm not doing them. We're still doing them. It's just that they're full up at the moment. So because people have obviously been on the list and I've been working my way through them. What I will probably do is they will kick off again in earnest in December. But because of everything that goes on, obviously I do them every other weekend, and working here sort of 7 days a week, I had to make a little bit of family time, if I'm honest. Otherwise, I'd be in the doghouse. Yes. Buying a puppy only goes so far. So I did. It has done quite well so far. Yeah. That's probably doing this all week. But yeah, so I will get back onto it. I'm probably going to have to limit it to maybe just the Saturdays for individual courses, so I can get a day off on a Sunday. And then obviously for the full weekend ones, we'll probably do one of those a month. So, but certainly we're pretty much booked up. And me having a bit of time off, especially November. But December we're back on track, but obviously we're into the holiday season then. God, talking about December already.
I know.
And everything else. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Bear with us. If you are interested, shoot me a PM through the site, and obviously I'll stick you on my list, because members, obviously you will have the priority for all the tickets. And to be honest, I only actually had 3 people here at non-members. Everybody's been a member.
Good.
Very nice it was. If you've done the course, look, you can see it all here. Sid's in your seat and somebody's in my seat, because I don't even sit in my seat when I do the course.
You don't?
I don't. I hover.
You do indeed, with your phone taking pictures.
Yes, I go around behind you all and take photos as you're doing it.
But the nibbles are very good.
Yes, yes, the lunch.
Ian, post 80, which is still on page 6, I believe. Phil, will you be taking part in the Sober for October campaign? Sober, S-O-B-E-R.
What, sober, then not drinking? Oh, is it?
Possibly, I don't know. If you do, I'm in for a tenner in sponsorship. Oh, perhaps because going back about being AA and all that and drinking too much.
Oh, right, yeah.
So perhaps they're saying that, are you going for a sober campaign in October?
Right. Well, if that's what it is, then I'm quite happy to do it. What's in October? I can't do the last week of October though, because I'm going to a party in fancy dress, and so are you. So I won't knock it.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Well, I've got to be drunk for that one, or at least by the end of the night. So yeah, and then we'll probably find out this is something completely different. Just us thinking alcohol again.
Either way, he's in for a tenner for a sponsorship. So
brilliant. Oh well, it'll go to Snap if that's the case anyway. So bless them. Tomorrow night we've got Dave here from the Snap charity. As I said, if you're just joining us, he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be here. Unless Dave's watching this, because Dave has got access to this.
Oh, there you go.
I bet he's not.
I bet
he's got no idea. I'm going to just say, yeah, I'll sit here, Dave, a minute, and then just turn it off.
We've got 90 viewers.
Well done.
Yeah, we've got 99 viewers. Gary is saying, looking good and clear here in Colorado. Good job, guys.
Thank you very much.
And Mark is, evening, gents. Could either of you recommend a 1/72nd or 48 scale Harrier kit? I have the 1/72nd kit from Hasegawa, but it seems to be a odd mold with no recessed lines, and would prefer something with more detail. I think Airfix have been mentioned before. Is there any other manufacturers or short run kits like Sword with extras included?
To be honest, the 72nd Harrier kits from Airfix are absolutely stunning. They are really, really nice. If you're talking 48th, then obviously we reviewed last week, we've got the Sea Harrier now, the FA2 by Kinetic. I'm still not sure why they've got the brake in the back of the fuselage, because it's got that weird thing in there, so I don't know if they're going to bring out something else. But is it just 72nd you were talking about?
72nd or 48th?
48th, obviously, and he's talking, what, the RF ones? Or is it anything? Sorry, I was concentrating
just
on
says
this.
48th Harrier kit.
Yeah, because obviously 48 scale, it's quite nicely done, because you've got the Hasegawa range of AV8 A's and B's and Harrier Pluses, and also you've got the GR7 range. Is it the GR5 Hasegawa? I'm not sure. Range of Harrier, so they're pretty well done. And for the modern ones in 48 scale, you can obviously get the Reeboks by Revell did the Reeboks of the GR7/9 kit, they called it, shortly before they all disappeared. It's not available anymore. They're pretty scarce to get hold of them. They go for silly money on eBay, I've noticed. So hopefully there'll be a Reeboks of that shortly. But certainly in 72nd scale, the Airfix new ones are beautiful because I've built them all now. I've done the GR3, the GR1, and the FA2 one, which they're up there. And they are lovely, stunning little kits. And I think there's a little bit of aftermarket available now. So if you wanted to stick a little resin seat in it and all the bits and pieces, which would really liven it up. But they've got great scale presence because the recessed panel lining is very nicely done. It's very fine and gives a great finish. And they go together, absolutely fantastic. I still have to say, it's probably one of the best ones they've done. Because that FA2 goes together, absolutely stunning.
That's right, I do like the Harriers.
Something about the Harrier. That's right. That's why I want to do the FA2, the 48th one.
Right, and Andreas, I think is his name. Hi, you two. Could you please comment with a critical eye on my first ever Alclad try? I think it has a little bit of a rough texture. So I'll just make the picture a little bit bigger so that Phil can see.
That's right. We can chuck it on here if you like.
Oh, okay.
Because we're getting together. Yeah, that's not bad. Hold on, I'll pop it on the main screen so everyone can see it.
We are comment 83.
So that way, if the guys are watching this at a later
6.
date, okay, comment 83 on page 6.
Yep.
Hold on. Call you shot on since I was last on here. Page 6, comment 83. 88.
Now, to me, that looks quite nice.
It does actually. Right, okay, stand by everyone. Here we go. Screen share. Share. Yeah, actually, I think that looks really nice. Is there more than one picture or just the one?
There's 1, 2, 3 pictures.
Okay, let me go into the other one so you can see the others. Yeah, really nice. Say that is your first go with Alclad. That's a nice job. Let's say the thing with Alclad, the way you have to look at it is, it's not painting, it's plating.
Okay.
Because the stuff is so thin and so fine, whatever's down there before will show up, and that's where primer comes in. Is quite important. So I always say, if you're going to do a shiny finish, you need to have a gloss black primer down there. Even if it's a normal acrylic gloss black, you don't have to be an enamel, but you can put that down and go over the top of it, no problem at all. But certainly, if you've got any roughness, it just gets tenfold, and that's the point. But that looks pretty good.
I'll say, me personally, if I looked at that, that would straight away I would think that was like a metal pin, but like a badge or something.
Yeah.
Looking at that straight away, but it is metal. It's not painted.
No.
So yeah, to my mind, that looks great.
That's right. If you know, one of the hardest things, to be honest, when you're dealing with all the Alclads and metal finishes, is to get it in the situation of getting different tones, because it's quite easy to make it look the same, but to get different tones is a little bit different. So in some ways, you could look at that photo there and think, well, actually, you know, you've got tones across the wings. It looks like a weathered-in, you know, P47, no problem at all.
Even the last pictures, again, you can see the different shades.
That's it. You've got different shades in there and everything else. Was this the one we were talking about for the invasion stripes? Because that book. I don't know if it is, but certainly, you know, the ones I'm looking at is that
it's the D-Day group.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously, you know, you're going to come along with stripes over it and all the rest of it. What I find is very good is you've got no seam lines that I can see running down, because obviously that's the other thing with Alclads. If you've got any faults with your paint, the actual preparation of your model, it shows it. So yeah, very nice, very good.
Mark Thompson. Hi guys, at home in Scotland, which is still part of the UK this week, and hopefully will still after the 18th.
Yeah, that's it.
Hi Mark.
Bless.
Hey, here we go. Shannon Steele.
Oh, is he back?
Come on, Sid, give us a song. When are you doing your ice bucket challenge? Oh God.
Did you never do it?
I still haven't done it yet. No.
Well, watch this space next week.
I have promised to do it. It's just that unfortunately I've had other things to get on and do first.
Oh. Right.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to do it.
You? I nominated you what, a month ago?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you.
And I said 24 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't realise you hadn't even done it.
Yeah, no, because John mentioned that I didn't do it as well. But yeah.
Even Mel's done it.
I noticed. My sister ended up nominating me as well, I believe. Gerald has commented. He's put, "Hi guys from Jerry in Aberdeen. This is number 86. Loving the banter and the informality of the show. Keep it up. Only downside is it's interfering with my productivity.
Productivity, yeah.
Spit me words out. On the model in front, as I don't get a lot done when you two are on."
I think this is the trouble we've all had. The idea between all of this week was that we were going to sit here and it was going to be, we're all going to model and get on, and we could all just have gentle banter as we're modelling. But actually, what it means is we all just sit here and yak like guys down the pub.
It does. And there's only two of us.
Yeah.
Actually face to face, and the rest of you on the
But it's great because it's just like they're in here anyway.
It is. Definitely. Especially obviously having the interact of the forum, yeah.
That's it. And the other thing as well, the one thing I like about it, because it's in the forum, if you're not watching this live, like let's just assume you're watching this later on when this is a recording of, you can keep up with the comments in the forum and see it, so you can see what we're on about. Because I think if it wasn't with the forum, you would probably get lost at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the whole point, to having the forum there, and that's why I've left the videos as streaming files up here, so you guys can see it and sit through. So the way I look at it is, when you're sort of, you know, nothing on, you can go and have model and put an old show on, and have us yapping in the background.
Yay!
That's what I'm going to do. I can listen to us in the background.
Paul has commented saying, "Hi guys, Paul from Billingham here. Just a small question. I want to use acrylic rod in a hawk as a stand and want to add smoke rings to the rod. What is the best way to do this? Great show, thanks guys."
I've covered this one, guys. If you go into the F14 Tomcat, can you see that? No, it's above its head. I've got the Tomcat up there, which has got the smoke rings on. It's got the blue haze to give that effective heat going through it, and then I airbrushed dark blue and then light blue and then a white to give a sort of shock ring effect as it goes through. But I covered it quite in depth, so just look at the last part of the F14 video. I got in trouble over that. I have a confession.
What did you?
Well, when we put it onto YouTube, the guy who wrote Danger Zone, who went for years, did this for copyright, so I had to remove it. And what I understand, right, is the music I used was the never released some of the track from the film, and it was never released, but I still got done for it. So I had to remove it all and re-edit it and re-upload it and everything else. That's why there's no end credits or end music to that video, because I had to cut it all out, and because I didn't have the originals anymore, I couldn't put it back in. So yes, damn you, YouTube. Which is silly, because you can play it on YouTube, but you can't then play it again on YouTube. That's what they're saying, because that's where I got the music from in the first place. Terrible.
Mark Thompson again. Out of all the drivers, you could have named Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, I know, sorry.
Lee, he will be. Oh yes, Lee saying obviously that Russell, he will be. The more the merrier. Right, we're on to comment 90 now, and it's Clint. Hello from Florida again. Must say I am really looking forward to the new year. Sounds like more video builds, and I just can't seem to get enough of them.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. As I say, we've talking to Sid about it earlier as well, that hopefully we'll be in a position to crank out a lot more videos. It frees me up. We can do a lot more of this as well, because, you know, it just frees me up general other time, if you like. So it frees me up to do this type of thing, to experiment. Because to be honest, I had a few hours off today to play with this setting to get us the better HD quality and looking and all the rest of it. That was the whole point to this. And normally I just don't have that time. So I had a bit of a fiddle. I did all the reviews and all the rest of it, got them in the can, sat down, brought another computer down, had a fiddle, and got us all going, and so hopefully it pays off, because otherwise you get caught in a rut and you can't do anything else because you're too busy just doing today's stuff and catching up. Anyone interested?
No, I need the half say Metsy's home safely.
Oh, right.
From work, so that's good.
Evening times. I bet she's not watching this.
She won't be watching though. However, though, when we did get home last night, she wanted to see a bit of it.
Oh, did she?
On there, so I had to show her a bit of it.
Oh, that's all right then.
I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but she fell asleep. So
50-50 really.
All right, this one's for you again, Phil. I already know the answer to this, but I'll let you explain it.
Go on then.
Dave Barrett. I've been watching the Yoda build and wondered why you changed your name from Pro Modeler.
We got, I don't want to really drag it all up again, but obviously we were Pro Modeler in the UK. We had all the copyright and all the various trademarking and everything else for it. But obviously Revel in America, which is all part of Monogram and everything else, they had a series of kits called Pro Modeler. And when they were buying out Revel of Germany and they were buying out a few other companies, they were cleaning stock of all trade and brand names that they'd ever used when they were taking part in a big corporate buyout, and we were amongst it. So, long story short, Christmas Eve, whatever year it was, about 4 years ago now, we were sent, well, maybe even 5 years ago now, we were sent a very nice letter saying you've got 24 hours to cease everything, to shut everything down and give us all the domain names. But because we had the European ones and they had the American, it was always going to be that thing where, you know, if we don't give it up or change, it's just going to be a nightmare because we couldn't use the name Pro Modeler in the US, basically. But then they couldn't use Pro Modeler in Europe, so it was just that big thing. And obviously, you know, they are a massive corporate company with massive £1 million solicitors and all the rest of it, and it's me at that point in my back room. So it was a case of, right,
nice jumpers.
In my nice jumpers and all the rest of it, with about £1.40 in my pocket. So it was a case of, it was easier for me to say, look, okay, we'll change our name and everything else like that. And that's what we did. But if you were around at the time, you guys would have known it. We did have at the end of it a very nice apology from Revel and their parent company and everything else in the US, and we're all friends now. And there's no hard feelings. It was just at the time, it was one of those things, solicitors got involved and it all got really out of hand. But that's why we had to change, and we became, originally we were Flory Models. When I used to be just doing commission work, and before I started all of this, I was Flory Models. We changed to Pro Modeler to be a bit more professional, and because Flory Models was all still there, domain names and everything was all still there, it was just easy just to revert back to how we were, and everybody was happy with it. That's it.
And yes, Shannon, you can see me. I am here.
Yes.
That's right. He sent me a text saying
I can
see you.
Oh.
Question from Ian: how's the enamel paint doing on the lower pine?
Oh, that's a good point. Let's have a look.
That's why I sniggered. I just want to go.
Oh, right. No problem.
It's very shiny.
Well, it's gloss. In my defence, it is gloss. It's gloss black. Because it's obviously enamel, it's not dry. It's touch dry, but it's sticky dry. There's no bubbling. There's no lifting. It hasn't eaten in, and I brushed it on, so that was the test as well, because I wanted to know how it would be affected. Obviously, when you're airbrushing on, you're just sort of, you know, laminating down, but this is brushed on and everything else, and I cannot see a problem with it. To be honest, I don't know how well you can see the texture here. It's rough, but that's because it's the dust from everything else where we were sanding on here. But the paint itself and everything, I'm just going to have a scrape. It's still wet underneath. Let me have a sand with something a bit interesting. Yes, in a nutshell, I would say. I can see no problem with that at all. It's held, it's dry. I can't actually see any problem. It sands still, so you can still sand what's below it with no problem at all. And it hasn't even blocked the file at all. It's absolutely fine. So, yeah, I would say you don't have a problem with it. But as I said, just give it time before you sand it and all the bits and pieces like that. But for our experiment for tonight, here we go. Look, we can stand in here. Now, you can see it. It actually passed our test So look, we've done one thing tonight.
That's yeah.
We're all good. So that's fine. We've actually done something.
Right, so we then got Dave, comment 93 on page 7.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be able to maybe produce the ink wash to sell? Have only seen Indian ink to buy in large bottles, so don't think it would be cost effective.
Yeah, to be honest, we looked into this, but it costs pence to make. So it is that thing, by the time you put it in a bottle and a label and you sell it, it's what costs to do it. You can buy it in little bottles like this size. Winsor & Newton do an Indian ink in one of these bottles, and these are 14ml, and I think they're about £2. In the UK, they're available from Hobby Co. That one obviously wasn't, it was a white. But they do a small amount in Indian ink in there. Which you can do, but you're just looking for Indian ink. It is important. Don't just buy a normal ink or whatever ink. I've got some in it somewhere.
Yeah, I bought a normal ink from an art shop and it was no good.
Yeah, so don't buy things like, just like a Winsor & Newton artist ink. I've got one here which I had to play with. It's useless because it's just got no bite. But if you buy one that actually says, and say Winsor & Newton do these small 14ml little glass jars that actually are them in there, and I think they're only about £2. If that, I think they're around 180 or something else like that. You might be able to pick them up even cheaper. But it is that thing. Of those big bottles, of which he says
many cupboards.
These many cupboards, so many cupboards, I can't even find it. Like this one here, which is quite a large bottle, which will probably last you a million lifetimes, which is, what are we now, 490ml. Wasn't much at all. It's around about £9, and you could probably make about 2,000 litres of it from it, I would think, the way that stuff fits. So yeah, that's the thing. But from a marketing point of view, it'd be a bit of a rip-off to charge for it, because it is literally, it's not a problem. It doesn't cost very much to buy it, and obviously by the time you put it in, and depending which way you're doing it, because if you knock it out with Airbrush Clean, that's really cheap, and the other way you can do it is obviously with a bit of retarder or flow improver. You can end up with a little bottle of it.
Comment 94 from John.
Mm-hmm.
Hello Phil, what do you think of 3D printing? Do you think in a few years they could be the next best thing to airbrushes for the hobby?
Yeah, I've looked into 3D printing because obviously it's a bit of a buzz thing. For rapid prototyping and for companies who make aftermarket things like resin and stuff like that, I think they're probably the way they're going to go. From our point of view as a hobbyist, they're not there yet. Purely because if you wanted to print, something like, something this big, a bottle of paint, it's going to take a couple of hours. You might get a couple of missed shots with it and all the rest of it. So it's easier for us if we wanted to make up something to do it in resin and make a copy of it. The bit where in the future we're all going to have one in our home and you'll literally just print off a PDF for your instructions and download the file, I believe that will come eventually. But I think it's going to be the same like printers. To start with, if we all remember the Matrix dot printers, we all have one, the ones, and everything else, and on rolls of paper with the holes in it. That's how printers started, and now you compare it to a modern laser printer, how quickly and fast they can chuck stuff out on anything, gloss, the works, in relatively, 20 years. It's amazing. So I think 3D printers at the moment, they're too slow, they're not detailed enough. You get that stepping as they're coming up, unless you're spending thousands of pounds on a printer. But generally, I think for our point of view, from the end user, probably not. From a manufacturer's point of view, so if you're doing an engine for something and you need to make a small change to it, you could just do it in CAD, make the change, and then print one out as a master, and then do resin ones to follow. I think that's probably a very good way of doing it. But I think for a point of view of making it from a product point of view, as in knocking them out, it takes too long. They are just too slow. I don't know anybody. I know a couple of guys who've got big industrial ones, this size ones, and it still takes, hours and hours, and it gets halfway and it moves. Not good. So yeah, in the future, definitely. I think we'll all have one. It'll be like having a printer in your home. Everybody will have one. It'll just be, your makeup bot or whatever. and you'll just download your bit and away you go. And you might find out that companies such as Edard and Aries and stuff like that, they'll probably sell you the download. So you just print it off yourself, which would be ideal for them, because, you know, just turns into a virtual system for your product, and you get it at the other end. And they're getting better, because I've seen stuff from the early days, and I've seen recently some end user stuff. MDC use it for their rapid prototyping now, and they come up with some very, very nice stuff.
We have a next comment, but I'm going to get you to read the name again. One at the top.
Top is I don't know. Is that Tastio? Sorola?
Comment number 95.
Sorry, butchering names.
So we do apologise that we can't pronounce the names.
Do apologise.
Saying, hello Phil. When model is ready, do you use clear varnish before colour wash? Question mark. How long time do the colour wash dry before you wipe it off? And that's Tav from Finland. Then, oh, thank you for answering the questions. I'm talking about Floyd products.
Right. Okay. My wash, dead simple. You wipe it off when it's completely dry. If the first time you're using it, always put it over a gloss finish, just so you get used to the product and how it works. And I've said this for years now, because you get some guys and they'll see how I use it. And as somebody who's been using it now for best part of, what, 20 years, I just know when the conditions are right for the wash, and what I can get away with and how much is going to come off, and that's the big thing. But when you're new to it, certainly, you put down a gloss or certainly a satin finish, let that coat completely dry. So if we're talking acrylic, make sure it's been dry for at least 24 hours. If it's enamel, give it a week to completely go off. Put the wash on, either brush it on by hand or airbrush it on. If you look at the Hind video, you'll see all about it. And then literally it's just a case of, right, when that's completely dry, make sure it is all the way dry. Depending on how much you wipe it and obviously how damp the cloth is, will take off that amount. So if you just want it as a panel line wash over gloss, then very wet cloth, just wipe it all away and it will just stay in all the recesses in your panel lines. If you want to give it some grime and texture, then literally do it over a dry cloth to start with and just wipe it all up when it's dry, and then you can just moisten your cloth very lightly for stubborn areas where it gets stuck a little bit. If you get the situation where you can't get the stuff off, use a tiny little bit of airbrush cleaner extremely sparingly, just give it a rub, and then that way it will get it all off again, okay? If it's still stuck after that, use the sponge technique, because what's happening now is the texture on the surface of your paint on the microscopic level is like sandpaper, and where you're wiping it isn't actually wiping it off. But if you use a damp sponge, that tends to moisten it and lift it off. Failing all of that, just put warm water through your airbrush and pressure wash it off like you would your car, and you'll get it off of anything. Okay, but it's one of those things. The more you play with it, the more you will. For instance, this particular one here, I was happy with the paint effect, that it was like a satin type of look with it. I wanted it to look grimy, so I put the wash straight over the paint without a sealer coat. That way, it gets caught in the texture of the paint and gives me the grime effect that the actual helicopter's got and that I was looking for. But that was it. But be smart. Start with, just get used to it. Gloss coat, let it totally dry, pop it on, let it dry, wipe it off, and get used to it. And then that way you can start to then go along and do it. And to the point, and I know because I use it all the time, I'll use it over a dead flat coat and still get 90% of it off. And a lot of people say, oh, I put your wash on and it's stuck and I used a gloss coat. It's normally because the surface you put it onto wasn't dry, okay, or the texture of your paint was really, really rough. The old way is, if you put this stuff onto a rough bit of worktop, my wash onto, like this worktop here is your standard kitchen worktop, it's quite rough as to texture. I can put the wash on here, but I can still wipe it all off. That's because it's a rock hard surface, so it can't actually be drawn into it. And there's no chemicals or nasties actually in the wash that can eat into paint. That's the point to it. There's a flow enhancer that actually just makes, it breaks the surface tension of water and makes it flow. That's all it's in. So yes,
indeed. Right. I'm sure there's a meaning behind this. Neil Smiley has put, this is Neil's SWMBO, all in capital letters. SWMBO.
Swimbo.
Yep.
She who must be obeyed.
Oh, well, there you go.
So it's wife.
So this is Neil's. Right, I'm with you.
Yep.
Tell her to go and make me a cup of tea.
There you go, Neil. Go and make her a cup of tea.
And that was comment 96.
Just remember, she's always right.
Yeah, see, yeah, it makes sense now. She must be obeyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, bless.
Never argue with a woman.
Indeed, because you never win.
Yeah, that's right.
So comment 97. Mark, can anyone tell me an equivalent for Model Masters 1406 exhaust and 1404 titanium? I have Tamiya and Valero Model Air.
They're metallics. What's the number again for the exhaust?
The exhaust one is 1406.
Yes.
And the other one is 1404 titanium.
1404 titanium.
There's a song about that.
Magnesium, stainless steel, titanium. Yes, I have them here. Your equivalency, no. To be honest, they are a metallizer paint, so really there is no equivalent to them. That said, the guns range, obviously you've got, just trying to think what we've got. You've got the stainless steels, the steels, just trying to think what else I've got. The others are a bit darker. But if you polish up things like iron and dark iron, they look very similar to titanium and all the rest of it. Tamiya do a titanium, thinking about it, X32. I don't have it. Do I? I'm sure. Sid, have a look underneath there. Right underneath there, there's a load of paint in front of you, in the cupboard. You're in my stock cupboard now.
Wait.
And those loose ones down the front, I think you should find there's an X32, just to confirm, which is Tamiya's titanium, which, to be honest, is Tamiya's best.
Yeah, X32 there, yeah, straight away.
As I say, I don't tend to use them, that's why they're out of the way. I don't have them out on the rack. So I've got a lot of other paints, but they're just out of the way because I don't, you know. But anyway, the titanium colour is a really nice one. I tell you what that looks great on is exhausts for aircraft, F-16s, beautiful colour, works really, really well. Usual thing though with it, this is the better, or say probably the best Tamiya metallic they do because the fleck is absolutely tiny, but it's not buffable. So you can't buff it or anything else like that, but obviously you can do all your normal things to it. So yes, if you want to do titanium X32, the exhaust, it has a funny colour to it. If I remember rightly, it's, I would say it's probably not like any standard paint there is. Because it's a metallic and a metallizer like that, they do tend to be a bit odd. As in they have their own specific colours. You could probably find it as an Alclad. If you can't find metallizers, I'm sure Alclad do. I don't really want to get this one out here, but I've got all the Alclads Tamiya. But I don't really want to go through, but they do an exhaust. They do a jet exhaust.
Okay.
So yeah, do you want Alclads or is he just saying acrylics?
It is as an equivalent.
An equivalent, yeah. Alclads obviously do a full range that basically mirror these, so you could go through their range, and to be honest, they keep expanding and everything on it, so I'm a bit out of the loop with those because I don't really use them. But Alclads definitely. But if you wanted titanium, then titanium silver X32 from Tamiya. It's a lighter version than the Model Master ones, if we're honest. But as I say, you can always go down the route if you wanted to of the Mr. Metal colours. They're a little bit iffy to find in the UK. The rest of the world, not a problem. But certainly you've got your iron and your dark iron. When you brush them on, they look like black, flat black. But like I did with the engine, you buff them up, it comes to a very nice metal finish.
Lovely. Right, comment 98. This is his first post, so well done, Steve.
Well done, Steve.
He says, hi, Steve from New Zealand here.
Oh,
great show. What are your thoughts on perfect putty? Perfect plastic putty. Is it good? What is the shrinkage like? I use it.
I use it. Here, look. Ta-da! We've all got it. Yeah. I can't think really anything bad. It does shrink. There's no such thing as non-shrinkage with putties. You'll get all these companies, they say no shrinkage. Bollocks.
So easy to clean up afterwards.
That's the thing. This is water-based, so there's no chemicals, and it's not like it doesn't get stringy, and you start pulling it out and fighting with it and getting it everywhere. It wipes out and cleans out with water. My only tip is, and I think I covered this on an earlier show this week, when you do it, if you're puttying something, leave a little Himalayas, a little ridge higher, and then let it completely go off, because it will shrink back into the gap. Okay, but I know some guys, and they'll come along and they'll have the seam line, and they'll fill it perfectly, and then they'll wipe it off with like water and that, and get it perfectly smooth, which is great until the next morning where you've got a small dip where it shrunk. But I let it stand on top, get a nice heap above it, and then let that completely go off. Come in with a very strong grit sand, like a coarse one, take the top of it off so there's not too much heat, because if you're really fine and you're rubbing it, you get it really hot, and then all the plastic gets hot and it starts to get a bit soft again. So I use a very coarse until I'm getting close, then I'll switch to a fine just for finishing off, and away you go. But I do like it, it's very good. But as you say, a lot of it is that it's really easy to use, and it's clean up,
very user-friendly.
Really user-friendly, as I say. You just wipe it off your tools afterwards, no problems. You know, and everything else. I don't think there's any nasties in it particularly. It's quite good stuff.
So comment 99 while Phil's still reading. And this is from Gareth. I know you've got one of these, but whether you actually build or not, I don't know. Just wondering, Phil, do you ever build any kits in 144?
Yes. I haven't done one for a while, admittedly. I was just thinking.
Was it you I saw with the Vulcan?
Yeah, it's behind you.
It is, I thought it was.
Behind is said the Great Wall Hobbies above the F-16s.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I do have the Great Wall Hobbies F-16 Vulcan Bomber in 144, as reviewed, which is this one here, which I will do. As I say, I think it's a perfect size for a desk ornament, and as a fan of the British V-bomber fleet, i.e. you've got the Vulcan, the Victor and the Valiant, I'm led to believe that the Great Wall are bringing them out. We know I think it's the Victor is coming out, it might even be out by now to be honest, but certainly I think they're a nice size because they're, you know, not massive. And let's face it, they go together quite easy. But if you were talking it on your desk and all the rest of it, that's basically your other option is to have the Airfix one like this.
Yeah, I've got the Airfix, but I use that now as a template, as a your equivalent buster.
A buster. Everyone needs a buster. Yeah, so that's the point from that one. Very nice. I'd say they're all little things that when I get out of all this big stuff and I start to motor through in the new year, it's definitely going to be one of my, what I'm going to call the 1 week builds, where I'm going to literally be done in a week. Because they'll be quite, like that one, to be honest, putting it together isn't much at all. It's all going to be on the painting and things like that. So that'll be one of my 1 week builds. Coming up in the new year.
Comment 100 from Dave. Could you super polish the surface of the Alclad metalwork?
You can polish Alclad, but you have to be extremely careful. Generally, by polishing, what you're actually doing is cutting into the surface of whatever you're doing to give it a flatter, more reflective finish. Okay, because obviously the shininess is just reflection. The trouble is, though, if you, with Alclads, because we said before, it's more like plating than painting. Okay, by that, what I mean is when you paint something, you put down a layer of something that's normally quite thick and coats. Okay, when you're plating, it literally is just going onto something, a very thin layer, and it's that thinness that gives Alclad its great metal look. Trouble with that is, though, it is very fragile. You can scratch it, you can rub through it very quickly, and because you can rub through it quickly, when you polish it, you can go through as well. What I would suggest, if you're into polishing and you want to do that type of effect, is to use a range of buffables. So from my point of view, first choice for me is Mr. Metals. So you've got one down here, we're going up here. You can either get, and somebody's going to ask me this question, so I'll cover it here. You get these two types here. The reason this one looks funny is because I buy mine direct from the Far East, because quite frankly, trying to get hold of certain colours can be quite difficult in the UK. They tend to sell out very, very quickly. And for the sake of waiting a few days, it doesn't cost any more, just bring them in. Okay, but these are the Mr. Metal colour. Okay, available in, I can't remember all the colours offhand, but you've got aluminium, steel, stainless steel, dark iron, normal iron, I can't think what the others are now. Then you've got obviously colours, you've got gold, bronze, brass, copper and everything else. These are specifically designed to be buffed. So actually when you put them on, they've almost got a flat look to them, but it's that flat and dust that you polish to actually give you a very reflective surface. And in tests, I've had this stuff like a mirror, especially the chrome. Okay, you put down gloss black first, then you come in literally with a couple of brushfuls of this stuff, nice thick coat, and then you literally just take your time, polishing it by hand, comes up lovely. Then if you use a polisher, okay, on top of it, you can really make this stuff lovely. Because it's as hard as nails, you never rub through it. And in some ways, the harder you rub, the more it seems to like it and comes alive. And I really, apart from on raised edges, I've never on a flat surface been able to rub through this yet. It's really as hard as nails. Your other option is obviously Model Masters, Metallizer range. They do a range, just be careful, because they also do a range, exactly the same name, of non-buffable metallizers. So just make sure you get the buffable ones versus the non-buffing ones, otherwise you're going to end up trying to buff something that doesn't buff. Okay? And we've all been there.
Wax on, wax off, it's not working.
That's it, and that's the thing. And to be honest, like down here on the hind, a lot of the metal work on here, these are the non-buffable ones. They're just the standard ones because I didn't need to buff it. But if you give them a bit of a rub, they tend to come up well. The clay wash, because the clay's obviously got a particle into it, tends to polish metal effects as well and bring them up and gives them a nice sort of warm look to them and everything else. So that was the thing with that one. So there we go, that's your buffables. I say, I'm going to do a thing on metallizers and Alclads and everything near Christmas. I intend to do it at one because we need to cover that. I get asked a lot.
Bill, comment 101. Dry brushing with acrylic paints. I have done this for years with enamel with no problems, but acrylic, it always dries out straight away. Please advise. Love the show.
Thank you very much. Yeah. It depends, you know, from my point of view, I only use acrylics, so I don't have a problem with it. And where it dries out sometimes works in your favour because you can scrub. But I know what you mean. When you're using enamel paints, because they're soft, you get a longer time dry brushing before working. But the thing I find better with acrylics is you can really scrub the hell out of it. So if you wanted to dry brush a flat surface, and to be honest, that's what we did on Hind, we dry brushed the entire thing, you can scrub it quite heavily on there. With enamel, sometimes you get that thing where it suddenly comes out a bit and you end up with a bit on there, but you can scrub it right to the top of the brush, if you like, to the hard bit of the bristles up near the handle itself. Where with enamels, you don't do that because it might still get some coming through. Again, it's that thing, when you're used to using a particular product or a way of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah,
but then you try, it's a bit like if I try and, you know, use enamels, it's a bit of a nightmare because I'm out of the loop with it all. But certainly, you know, it's just one of those things. Practice, getting used to it, teaching yourself a new technique, and especially when you're used to using certain products in a certain way, when you come in and try something else, you can often end up making a hash of it a lot of the time, or not understanding why something is doing it a certain way. I think that's the other thing as well, and that's where I fall short sometimes, because I'll try a new product and just don't get on with it and go back to what I know, where I should give it a bit more of a go sometimes.
Paul, comment 102, sorry. Hello Phil, do you have any plans to build any armour or AFVs in the near future? Keep up the great work.
I do, yes, definitely. I intend to do a bit of a new system that's going to be coming up, especially in the new year, where this is quite hard to line this up. What I'm going to do is I intend to rotate builds, so everybody gets a bit of a go at this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do obviously AFV stuff, different areas of it as well, and then so 1 week might be an FV build, and then I'd like to do a Sherman, because I haven't done a Sherman for ages, and obviously we've got Fury coming out as well, so that's a bit of inspiration.
It is.
And we have seen a little bit behind the scenes of Fury, so we want to probably have a go a bit of that. And then obviously more modern stuff and everything else. So I would like to, one of the things next year is on a weekly basis we're going to rotate the build. So as I'm working my way through, hopefully a lot quicker than we're doing now, so instead of being stuck on a build for 2 months, there'll be a maximum of 2 weeks between builds, that it will be a case of, okay, this particular week it's an armoured fighting vehicle and a Second World War plane or something, then the following week will be something modern, and it may be a Formula 1 car. or something else like that. So everybody's getting a little bit of something, because I know what happens. Sometimes you get a little bit stuck into it, and I'm hoping this is where some of you guys is going to help out as well by doing fantastic photo builds and things like that, which we can get up onto the main site. So the bit where I'm not doing a certain genre, you lot can all fill the gap, so everybody's seeing something really, really good. So that is the plan. But yes, definitely going to be doing it. I have got very limited amount of armour in there, because to be honest, a couple of my kits have gone recently, because I've done a few swaps and things. But certainly I am going to be doing a Sherman for Fury coming up.
Lovely.
That'll be next.
Clive's put up a comment about the question with the equivalent to Model Masters paints. Hi, Mark. These are both metallizers. They won't be a direct match. Neil, comment 104, PSAT made. All safe now.
Oh, that's all right. Continue now.
And Dave's put, bring back the jumpers.
The jumper off to the Edinburgh woolen mill.
You'd bake a jumper with all these
Can you
guys.
imagine it? Yeah, those were the days where I used to do it with like a 60-watt light bulb.
Right, on to page 8.
Okay, right, one gun pod done. So I've got I've gone with it. We're supposed to have a grenade launchers, but I've changed it. So I'm going to go with 3 lots of 7.62 on Gatling, and we're going to mount these up here, you see. So it's going to be a bit like Terminator, where they can slightly swing. I'm going to put a system underneath here. So they're going to be one up here, you see, and one here. And I'm going to have a rocket pod on the inner bit, and we're going to have the turret system on the top still, with the plough. So this is what we should be doing.
But it's only going to drive about 5 miles an hour because it's going to weigh too much.
Oh no, because I'm going to put a JTOG system on the back. So it'll go like 0 to 100 and then it'll blow up.
And take off.
And then take off. Yeah, that's it.
Adrian, comment 106, first one on page 8. Hey, all jumped on here, and all I'm getting is the screen loading for the last 20 minutes. I've clicked the live dot, which is bringing me up to speed, but nothing. So I'll have to watch in archives.
Yeah, archives. Right, I'll just make sure we are still on.
Otherwise, we're just talking to ourselves.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Hold on. Next page. No, we're still here.
Yeah, we are. Indeed.
Yeah, that's us. We are still here. Try it on the main site as well. So, and if you go to the first page in the forum, you've got the thing there for the live streaming. Because we are still live streaming, I've got that one going as well. It's amazing my system's still working. We've got us going on about 9 pages. So yeah.
The only problem is if he's not watching it, he's not going to hear you say what to do.
Well, that's a good point. Somebody tell him in the forum. It's falling apart this now, isn't it? Look, we're all going wrong now. We're working so well earlier. I'm amazed it's working using the Wi-Fi.
I'm still surprised that this is still got 65% battery, so that's good.
Oh, that's all right. Look, we've gone almost half hour over now.
Oh, wait, again?
Again.
I bet we'll be a bit quicker then.
Yeah.
Right, Mark, my last question of the evening, which is 107, is a comment 107. An old school one. How do you replace raised panel lines on any kits, but most notably aircraft kits? I have tried the stretch spur trick, but are there any other ways to get around sanding off seam lines after filling or sprue gates left over?
To be honest, my little way of doing it, which I like to do, is I use the old blade trick. Sorry, that must be my other computer doing something, making a funny noise. It's probably why he's not seeing us. It's just blown up. Yeah, what you want to do is, if you use your normal car blade, don't use a lethally sharp blade. You want to use something, quite an old blade, that's quite strong, okay? And then literally, and I'll do it on this, well, we'll do it on that particular part. Things are not, oh yeah, but basically what you do is, I'll be a bit thin, I'll cut through it, that's the trouble. It's all right.
You need a steady hand.
I know. Need some more room. I need a bigger studio. the way I would do it is literally you use your scribing template, obviously use a ruler, place down, grab your blade, okay, and then you just make a very strong push and you cut down through it. Now I know you're never going to see this, well you might do, no you're not. But what it actually does, if you do that, you actually get what looks like a raised panel line, but in fact what you've done is caused a V where you've pushed down the blade into it and it's made like a very sharp V at the top, okay, but it's raised it over the top of it. So it actually gives you then this, which isn't down, because obviously there is a groove in the middle, but you can't really see it. But if you give it a go, get yourself a piece of plastic card, put this down, but as I say, don't use a sharp blade. Don't use one of his lethal, you know, scalpel things. Don't use one of those. Don't use one of them because they're too sharp. You need a thicker blade that actually does a bigger job. But then all you do is place it down and then pull it across, and you actually get, to see, a raised panel line effect. And that's how I replace them. Because to be honest, I did a few 1/48 scale Lancasters, the Tammy ones, and they're raised panel lines all over, and that's how I do it. So obviously you've got the centre seam across the top where it comes in. I just literally go over the top with them and take them in like that. So that's the thing. Easiest way, no problem at all. Stretch sprue, I've never been able to do that. You know, you get the guy, because when I glue it in, it just goes flat again. So, but I have tried it, but it just doesn't work for me.
Apparently, I'm not quick enough.
Oh, is that what it is? What, to stretch it?
You've got to do it in one solid motion.
Yeah, so it's on there, and then you pull it, and then it just gives. I'll pull my shoulder out, so if I tried that, I'll break my arm.
Yeah, no, I've never achieved that.
Oh, right.
Comment 109 from Mark. Thanks, Phil. Never thought of Alclads, and I do have them, but never used them before. Can you give me a quick ABC on how to?
Okay. A for Alclad. B for no. Okay.
Brush.
Yeah, you can't brush them. Okay. Preparation of your surface has got to be good. So if you can spray onto neat plastic, that's not a problem. But just make sure you've got rid of any sanding marks or filler or glue marks or anything else, because they will just show up and they look truly horrible. Okay. If you can prime them with a gloss or certainly a satin primer, it will look a lot better. Next up, putting your actual Alclad down. Use a pipette to get it out of the bottle. Don't try and pour it because it just goes everywhere and it's horrible stuff to use. So squeeze a bit out, neat into your airbrush, air pressure. I used to spray around about 10 to 12 psi to try and get it down. You need a certain amount, but you certainly don't need a lot. You don't want to be spraying it at 30 psi because it mists it on, it dries too quick, and you end up with a very sort of, it's not a rough texture, but it just doesn't look right, okay? So lower that air pressure down. And also, when you're putting it down, just keep it as what I would call solid coats. So don't sort of dance around sort of like this, putting it down. Nice, strong airbrushes over to whatever you're actually airbrushing, okay? If you dance around, sometimes you get this sort of milky look to it and it doesn't like it, okay? And everything else, and just do it like that. But certainly don't thin it because it's thin enough already, and make sure it's had a good mix. The other thing as well, if you've had Alclad sticking around a while, it does have a shelf life. Because I had a bottle, well, I was going back when I used to use it, and I sprayed it, and it was just like milk coming out of it, and it was just cloudy on the surface of everything I touched. And it turns out it's because the bottle was too old and gone off. And everybody said at the time it's because, and funny enough, we were next to Alclad stand at one of the shows we did at one at Telford for IPMS Nationals, and I said to him about it, and he said probably gone off, and he gave me a free replacement.
That's a jolly decent one.
It was indeed. So yeah, that's the easy answer. As I said, I am going to do a thing on Alclads and metallizers and everything else. It's probably going to be a Sabre jet or something. I might do the Academy 48 scale Sabre or something. I've got actually the 32nd, I think, somewhere here. But maybe a bit big. I might do something a bit smaller, a bit quicker. For a Starfighter, Hasegawa 104 Starfighters, they're nice. Got some nice aftermarket stuff for that as well. So yeah, that'll be around about December. I'll do that. In time for my Christmas special.
Right. Post 110 is from TS2, the one that we had earlier. Again, sorry for not pronouncing your name wrong, but he has put TAV down as abbreviation from Finland.
So it'll be TAV now. TAV now. That's good.
Hello again, guys. Again, I've got to sort of rejuggle the words. Basically, I think he's asking where you get your red airbrush from. Can you give him the address?
Definitely. Go to Everything Airbrush. Okay. Yeah, is there in it? Yeah. I can't remember. Mine's gone blank now. Yeah, and you'll get 10% discount. Just PM me, and I will give you the discount code. I did mention it in an early show and got in a bit of trouble, so I better not do it again. But certainly, and you'll get 10% off of everything. I will just be very clever, and I'll just pop to their website so you can see it and get the address for it, unless he wants to type it up in the thing.
No, you'd be quicker doing it your way.
All right, okay. It's right on the top. Delete. Actually, I'll tell you what, hold on. If this works, this is brilliant.
You could actually put it back on like you did with the other pictures.
Yeah. Okay, so at the moment, I assume, because this is everythingairbrush.com, okay, members, Flooring Models members get 10% off everything here. So if they're doing 20%, you just put in the code at the end. That means you'll get 30% off.
It could do, yeah. Yeah.
Because I haven't been told by Tim, and obviously Tim is our contact guy who's the manager for everything Airbrush and the Airbrush things. But yeah, you can do it. But basically, the one that I actually use, if we just go along, where are we? Airbrushers. They changed their website. It's different to when I was here last. You just dropped a bit now, haven't you?
Yeah.
Airbrush stand, airbrush bottles, Harrier and steam accessories. Where's just airbrushes?
Found it.
Oh, no, wrong one. Sorry. Okay. So down here, we've got pages. It's all sorry. Hold on, it's a bit confusing here, and I can't see all the way. Harder and Steenbeck is this guy here. So look, they've got the video of the factory. If you haven't seen that, it's quite interesting. I put it on DVD. The Harder and Steenbeck range, they're all very good. There is no duff one to this one. The particular one that I have is this one here. This is the Infinity 2-in-1. Crikey, is that how much it is now? It's gone up a little bit, to be honest, guys. But there you go. You can actually get it. The solo version, I do believe, comes with a 0.2 needle, which is this one here. It's called the CR Plus. Do they do it? Oh, right, hold on. They've done different versions. This is the one. It's 165 quid. Okay, this is this exact airbrush I'm holding in my hand. Apart from, I've got another 5mm color cut for it because, to be honest, I've got multiples of them. So what it is, 164, so you'll get 20% discount on that as well for your members and all the rest of it. If you wanted to, though, have a look at the Ultra range because they're absolutely brilliant. They're a little bit cheaper because they just haven't got a few of the items. And if you watched last night's show, was it last night I explained it?
Yeah. You did with the Ultra, yeah.
Yeah, the last night we spoke a lot about the Ultra and the Infinity and the differences between the two. I don't really want to go over it again, but watch last night's show and you can see all about it in there. But as we said, the Ultra is a lovely airbrush. The Evolution, they do it here. I have it. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Here's the Evolution. This is this exact airbrush we've got right here. Is 124. So with your discount, it's going to be around about 100 quid, and it's a lovely airbrush. I only paid $74.99 for that, and that was full retail. But that was a long time ago, like 15 years ago. Which just shows
when you were in your teens.
Yeah, well, that's when VAT was 17.5%. In my teens, yeah, not quite.
I was trying to be polite.
That was being polite.
So we got Post 111, which is John. Hi again, Phil. I think you pick up Bill. I think you pick up build is needed on The Walking Dead. This next season.
Oh, I'm well into that. Yes, looking forward. I love me Walking Dead. Yes, I must admit, if I'm honest, I was very disappointed in the last season. It was almost like you could have missed that one and not noticed, you know. Because
they tried actually filming on individual characters, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
And their own sort of way of coping with it.
Yeah.
Rather than as a group,
and
then they came to it at the end, didn't they?
Yeah.
I hope that nobody's trying to catch up on it because I've just given them
a
bit. But
spoiler alert. It's pretty obvious. They're obviously cannibals, isn't it? This new lot. I assume that's where all the meat's coming from. They're eating people.
Did you not work that out?
Well, yeah, I did, but I'm just trying not to spoil it for everyone else.
Well, too late now. You've done it now.
Oh, right, okay. So obviously they're in with a bunch of cannibals.
Mark has posted. Thanks for the info.
No problem.
So that's paint. Let's just make sure that we've got no others. I'll refresh the page.
Is that it? Are we up to date?
That's it at the moment, yeah.
Crikey. Well, look, guys, post your questions in. We're only going to do probably another, I don't know,
Yeah,
10 minutes. We're going to go till 9:45 because that means we're 45 minutes over. And Sid's got to go home yet.
Post 113, which is Rob. What paints does Phil use for metal finishes? I have the Mustang I want to do, but only use acrylics.
Yeah, that's the thing. Metal finishes with acrylics is extremely difficult to get a good metal finish. Don't forget, yeah, you can do it, and we spoke about last night again. We spoke about Citadel paints, the Games Workshop colours. They are probably the best metal colour paints there is, and I've
not attempted it, so
yeah.
I can't comment.
Let me just move this because it's distracting. Basically, like these ones, they call them like mithril silver and all the rest of it, so you're never going to be able to colour match with them, but they do probably the finest fleck or the pigment in the metal is probably the best, and certainly gives the best metal look of any acrylic paint. You can airbrush it, you just have to thin it a hell of a lot, which is great because you're getting obviously a lot for nothing. Whereas obviously if you're going through things like Alclad, you can blow through a bottle of that in literally seconds. This stuff will last you forever. That said, if you determine not to use anything else but acrylics, that's the way I would go. Myself, if I'm going to be doing anything metallic wise, I do like, as I said before, the Mr. Metal colours. You can brush paint them, which is the biggest bonus, because normally with all the other metallizer type paints you cannot brush paint them, they have to be airbrushed. These bad boys can actually be hand painted, so you could paint the entire model and you can buff them up to give you a more shiny or flatter, weathered, heated, whatever type of effect with these ones you do. And obviously if you're hand painting them on, there is no smell, and actually compared with Alclad, they are not as smelly as Alclad. Next one's up for smellness, if you like, after Alclad is probably the Model Master Metallizer range, buffing and non-buffing. Then you've got obviously these guys. But if you determine to just go with acrylics, then I would say obviously the Games Model Workshop ones, Mithril Silver, I can't remember the other one was Chainmail and all the rest of it. They've got some great names. They changed all the names recently, so I don't know what they are these, but I need a set because this one's dried out. But for hand painting, they are absolutely beautiful. I know guys who've done lightnings in 48 scale hand painting it. A good friend of mine years ago, he did it, hand painted a lightning, which I think is somewhere on the site still, and you would never know it's hand painted.
I knew somebody, a friend of my dad's, going back a few years now, that he used to renovate cars, and he used to hand paint his cars, and you wouldn't notice. And I'm talking about obviously proper cars, not model cars. And it'd go around and it'd actually hand paint cars, and you would think they'd been spray painted.
I did my Land Rover, my Series 1, with a roller. Oh, no, you may mock. Again, nobody could tell me.
I'm saying nothing.
No, I did. I did it with a roller in Land Rover green. Well, let's face it, it's flat. It's not exactly complex curves to go around, is it? Series 1 Land Rover, brilliant. But yeah, I took all the panels off and painted them all separately with a roller, put them all back on, and everybody thought it had a full respray. Could have made a fortune.
Dave, comment 114. I got a cracking deal on a Sparmax and an Evo CR Plus.
Brilliant, nice one. What was that? Through everything airbrush, I hope.
If
you did, you got your 10%. Somebody, I must admit, I'm a bit bad because obviously I've just remembered it. I will do it in the morning because obviously after these I tend to go to bed. But somebody asked me for the code a couple of hours before we came on air. I've only just remembered it. If that was you, I will be in contact first thing in the morning.
And Ron, mine. Bless him.
Bless him. Ron, he's another local.
Hi guys, I'm a bit late.
Yeah, you are actually, Ron. Ron's only about 15 minutes down the road.
So why is he not here?
Well, this is it. He could be here as well. What they don't know is you're all going to be lined up one day. So we're going to do the full geek meet here.
I'm just refreshing my page. Right, we have got Clint. Building the 148 Hasegawa FA18F,
yeah, nice
along with your video build of said model, maybe inspire you to love the kit again.
Yes, no.
And he's got a picture of it there.
Yes, nice. He's going to do it in the old skull and crossbones, no doubt, kit markings. Yes, to be honest, I am going to do it again, very much. I haven't, again, it's one of those things. I don't want to do 1/32 stuff, and then I'm thinking I'd like to do a Bounty Hunters, you know, VFA 2, because they obviously did the Super Hornet when they came off of the F14D, and obviously I've got the F14D in 32nd, so I'm thinking about having it on the same stand, doing this type of thing together, up at some wacky angle like the F14 is, because they're in the same markings, and I've got a photo of them doing it when they were handing off. So, again, it's one of those things. So I'm thinking of doing the Growler, because the Growler is more up-to-date version. Because if you buy the 32nd Trump fee F18F, it's just really wrong. It's all the old stuff. But the Growler's up to date, so you just don't put the jammer pods on and all the rest of it, and you get the more right version. So yeah, that was the thought. But there again, we're back into bloody 32nds, and I'm trying to get off of them. But it will look nice next to the other one, unless we're trying to pretend one's far away. So if I put a 48 doing it, you could say like the Tomcat's right in front of you, and the other one's a long way back doing it.
We'll get all the people that like with their cameras and all that. They come and take nice pictures of it, make it look good.
Photoshop it.
Indeed.
That's it. Photoshop it into some clouds and stuff like that. That'd be really nice.
I believe at the moment we are up to date.
Are we up to date? Crikey. That's pretty good going. Where are we?
Yeah, I don't think there's any other comments past 116.
That's it. Most of them have gone to bed now because we've had 65 viewers.
They've obviously found us boring and gone off to bed.
Yeah, that's it. They've all left now. Never mind. We're all good.
You'll have to think of something novel to do tomorrow now.
Well, this is it. I might build. That'll be normal. I'll do some building work.
Got a mankini on.
Yeah. Well, no. I better not. Have to go on the diet. But there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it over the last few nights. I've enjoyed having Sid here. It's a shame
it's been great
tomorrow night.
It is, but hey ho.
Come back again.
I should be watching you either way.
Oh, lovely.
I should be watching Dave, and I should be putting up me comments.
That's it. Well, Dave's got to try and keep up with it all. And
I'll also try and remember to put it in bigger print for you as well, so you can read it.
Yeah, that's it. So I'll be staring across. But hopefully you've all enjoyed it in the new higher res and everything else. If you are watching this back, by the time you get to this bit, it'll be fine. But usually it takes about an hour for YouTube to do its second rendering pass to make it into HD again. Otherwise, it's in horrible blocky stuff. But a few people say, "Oh, it's horrible," and then you watch it a little bit later. It's the same with the new show. If I put it up straight away, it's horrible. And then you give it an hour, and it gets a second pass, and it becomes a new HD version and everything else. So in the morning, I'll be doing the new show and recording that and everything else. I talk about a mammoth week. It's something like, I don't know, how many hours? It's like 2.5 hours, well, more than 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours last night. 2.5 hour bits and all the other ones. So yeah, it was like I've been in front of the camera, including video builds and everything, for about 15 hours this week.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be finishing that one tomorrow night.
Well, yeah, I might have to do some overtime. Watch us live at 3 in the morning as I catch up. Try and do something. What I might do is actually put the Hind on hold and do a bit for that tomorrow afternoon instead after the news show. And I'll stream that bit live, and then we'll just pretend it's like, you know, and here we are. But I might actually have to wait until we do the next live one to paint it. I might get it built tomorrow night, and then, you know, perhaps we'll go for a painting session, which would be interesting.
Yes, indeed.
But like all best made plans, it's gone out the window.
It has.
So there you go. I'll blame you.
Even I've done much of them.
No, that's it. But yours is coming along nicely.
Yeah,
how far have you got exactly?
I've done all the chassis work now, apart from the fiddly arm, the steering arm. So
oh, that's all right. No, very good.
And I was just putting this back of the seats on that one.
Oh, you put them on, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and then I was going to put the sides on as well. But I should probably just put them in the box now.
Lovely job. Well, so I've done the front plough in wavy, it's supposed to be cut metal to be distressed, and we've got the A-frame in the inside, and we've obviously done these
wings
strengtheners. Well, I was inspired by seeing the Hunter Killer, because it's got the big pods, isn't it, on the side, and I thought, well, these are good. So instead of a grenade launcher, I've given it 3 guns, because it should have twin guns of the grenade launcher, so the idea is they're going to go on there. So everything else. So,
Splendid.
there we go. As I said, massive thanks, mate, for the last couple of nights.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having me, and I do apologise if I've got people's names wrong or mispronounced them, so I do apologise.
No, you just what I do. I murder people's names, which is better though some ways, because that's why I prefer having real people's names, and it is having like aliases, because you're never going to pronounce them.
Definitely.
So it just makes it easier. So thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night for our final part, and also you get me as the new show tomorrow, which will probably be an hour one as well, because as I say, got some great reviews for you, and also there's a little bit from behind that I'm going to show on that one as well, just in case you don't see it, and everything else. So until tomorrow with a new show, which should be up around about 6ish, and then me again live. So everyone's in for a marathon tomorrow night and everything else.
Getting their pennies worth.
That's it, absolutely. Take care, happy modelling, and it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Take care.